Lord. Oh, this feels good. This feels amazing. It feels like something legendary is happening today. Welcome back to the Peripheral Project, where we sit down with some of the GOATs in the Colorado industry and we give perspective and education on music, broadcasting, fashion, anything creative, anything artistic. I have two legends in the building, and I have to give the monster intro for my guys real quick.
I love it.
We got to start at the left right here. We got the radio and event host, Denver Media School graduate, Audio Institute of America graduate, former producer of Real Talk Incorporated, former iHeartRadio technical producer, current radio operations director of Open Media Foundation, and creator, owner, founder, and program director of Callywood Music. It is Calvin Parker, aka Callywood.
What's up, man?
Legend.
I like that build. Yo,
man,
can you come on the road with me, man?
Oh, no, I'm here for it. You know what I'm saying? If I wasn't an artist, I'd be the best hype man ever, bro. Let me tell you,
man. Like, I'm not even an artist, but I just want you to just hype me
bro,
up.
you...
Like, I gotta go. I'm gonna go in the store and do some grocery shopping. Hype me up, bro.
Right?
That vegan pizza over there, I'm gonna need you to cop that.
I'm gonna need you to help me out.
I need you to cop that. I gotta go. You taking your steps? You taking your steps?
I'm gonna need you to walk
Right?
that.
I gotta go do my taxes. I gotta go do my taxes. You need to hype me up, man.
You know what I'm saying? We get this money
I need you to
back.
file
You
that.
feel me? We get these returns, and we're returning champions. You feel me?
Yes, sir.
No, I appreciate that intro,
anytime,
man. Thank
King. And I gotta give my brother. He has been. He's a huge part, just as much as Calvin, a huge part of my success in the industry, man. We got Colorado Media School graduate, former digital social media director of Max Media, former marketing manager of the Margolis Team Incorporated, former social media manager of Colorado Business Roundtable, former digital marketing director, current senior marketing director of Navajo Express, current social media coordinator of Chris Carter Law, and current social media manager, founder, creator, and owner of Proven Clothing and Turned Up TV. Basically, if it has a like button, he's making you lit.
Right.
It's King Proven, aka Turned Up TV. Turned Up TV forever.
Yes, sir.
Let's me Harris.
I love it, man.
Oh man.
Super excited to be here with you too.
Oh man.
Need that cheer button, man.
Yeah.
Put them sound effects in there. I'm just saying.
you know how that sound effects be, man.
Yo,
man. Monster intro for two Denver, Colorado, Greeley, Jace legends, man. You from Greeley, bro, but you made an impact in Denver, so I'm considering you
man.
that,
That means a lot for real.
Yeah, for sure, bro, man. But today, you guys are a huge part as to why I'm successful in the Denver market as far as rap, reggaeton, R&B, and whatnot. You guys have put me on your shows throughout the years. You know what I'm saying? I met both of y'all in 2018, and we've been rocking ever since. So I feel it's been a minute, right?
Okay. Man.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? When Chubby Ree was popping, you know what I mean?
That's right.
When Chubby Ree was popping, you know what I mean? But yeah, I just wanted to sit down with you guys and just pretty much just like pick your brains, you know what I'm saying? Because you guys have literally seen everything in the commercial aspect, in the community aspect, I know Lance with your marketing, you as an audio engineer, multimedia for both of y'all, and
Right.
I want to get to the nitty gritty, and I want to celebrate y'all by just, sitting down and just asking you about your journey, your experience, and how you guys ended up winning in the city.
Yeah.
Appreciate that, man.
Yeah, anytime.
I do. I love to talk about myself. I said it earlier. So
Yeah, I love that for
bring
you.
me in.
Yeah, I got
be
you.
hard to shut me up.
Yeah,
I'm just
literally before we get in. Like we were talking off mic. Literally, bro, you need just like 1 hour on your own show to just talk about your show.
No.
Like Nikki and Collins just need to sit to the side and just hear you talk. Yeah, you know.
Well,
what
they
I'm
pretty
saying?
much do. No, I'm just playing. No.
Like that's the show right now, right?
Yeah, right.
I when I do talk about myself, it's like from an experience, you know what I mean? Like we want the audience to relate. So when I do say something or tell a story about myself, it's because it's relatable to the subject we have. Sometimes there's a squirrel moment, squirrel, I get off track, but I do. I don't just sit there really. If you're listening to this, I'm not that egotistical.
Nah, we're just fucking around. If anything, Calvin is one of the biggest givers that I know.
Yeah, no, for real talk, man.
All right, buddy.
But I ain't gonna lie, I do like talking about myself.
Yeah, for sure. As you should, though. You know what I'm saying? You need a point of reference. You know what I'm saying? You need to compare yourself to yourself every single day. You know what I mean?
You need to.
Like, I love talking to myself.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I have interviews with myself. You know what I'm saying? Because it's an affirmation thing. It's just like, how do I put my past experiences, like what happened yesterday and how am I going to be better today? You know what I'm saying? To say that out loud is different than just thinking it to yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm just huge on that. But let's get straight into it. So both of you guys, I know both of you from broadcasting and podcasting specifically, you know? So I just want to start with the basics real quick. How did you guys get into broadcasting? And either y'all can go. You can do rock, paper, scissors.
Ooh, man.
You're the OG, man. I'll let you go first.
Oh, you want me to go first?
Yeah.
Man.
You've been doing it longer than me,
You
man.
know,
Appreciate that. Appreciate that. I'll try to make it in a quick roundabout way.
Oh, no, we need the story, bro.
You want the whole story?
Yeah,
So
we got 2
if
hours in the studio. Dog.
Okay, well, let's start from the beginning. Let me just say this first. And I think I just turned 51, but during the year I turned 50. So what was that last? Where were we at? 2022. I turned 50. Yeah. I turned 20. And so I put this story for the first time out on social media. But back in junior high school, my first year of college, I was deathly afraid of talking in front of people. Like audiences, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like giving book reports in school, presentations, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
You
so
know,
stage
especially
fright.
like middle school when you're, that's the worst. That's the most awkward time in your life.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, 1,000%.
Voice starts
Yeah.
crackling. You're coming into your manhood. They're about to drop. You know what I mean? So it's it was that in high school, and I remember my first year at college at Metro. I went to Metro State back when it was just State College, not a university,
Oh, wow.
and I took speech class my freshman year because I wanted to get over that fear of talking in front of people, and I bombed my first 3 presentations.
Right.
It's like, I'm about to flunk this class. I asked the professor, what can I do? What can I do to, get me comfortable in this zone? Because, after high school, I was like, all right, I'm a big college man. Now I got this, just mentally trying to just tell myself that I can do this.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
No research, no training, nothing. I just told myself that you're going to be better. You're college.
Right.
It didn't work, of course. So my speech professor recommended acting classes.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
That is a great suggestion.
So,
yeah.
I was like, okay, I don't want to flunk this class. You know what I mean? Yeah. So tried it out. I went down to agent at the time, which actually they're still around and were my agent for 15 plus years.
Wow.
Shout out to Big Fish. And I took acting classes and I fell in love with it. I love it.
I love it.
So, yeah. So
that's
this is back in 92 and not a lot popping off in 1992 here. It's like industrial commercials, college films, that kind of thing.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So after like 4 or 5 years, I started pursuing an acting career basically as of 92. And I got picked up by a Hollywood agent in 99, moved out to LA, did that for 5 years. And coming to a come to Jesus moment when my twins were on the way in 2005, I'm like, all right, acting career is not really working out. It's not consistent. So what else do I like? And I had some friends at the time who worked in radio. I had a friend who worked for K-Rock, which I don't know if you guys are familiar, like the big rock station out in LA, and Power 106, like where Big Boy's neighborhood used to be.
Right.
And I thought it was really cool. We just met through social networks. Like when I was an actor out there, they'd have all kinds of mixers. And so there'd be industry people there. There'd be radio, there'd be TV, film, whatever. And so I met them through that and would hang out with them on the weekends. They'd invite me down to like their broadcast at the Century Club. And you'd be chilling and like Dre would walk in. People, you know what I'm saying?
California
like
shit,
this is dope.
Yeah.
And then so they, their remotes were kind of different out there. They hit a little different, like hanging out. And I was like, this is a cool gig, So yeah, in 2005, I decided to pursue radio. I did an internship at KKLA. It's more like a mentorship program. It's where you pay for the experience. You pay for it. It's not like I wasn't going to school yet. I just wanted to see if I liked radio.
Yeah, it's not like an internship or an apprenticeship. Like,
right.
Yeah.
It's just a mentorship program.
Yeah,
so you pay some, I went through, I don't know if you guys heard of the Radio Connection.
No.
I don't know if they're even around anymore. But you pay and they hook you up with like somebody in the industry and you just shadow them. So I got a program director out there and shadowed him for like 4 or 5 months at KKLA, and it was dope. I thought it was the coolest thing ever to be in a radio studio.
Right.
Yeah, this is before going to school for audio engineering. Yeah, that's how I got in. I started out with that mentorship program.
That's pretty
liked
cool,
it,
Yeah.
and we moved back to Denver right after the kids were born in December of 2005. So I went to Ohio, which was Ohio Center for Broadcasting back then.
Oh, shit, yeah.
It's Colorado Media School now.
Yeah.
But back then in the day, back in 2000. So I started that in like February 2006 and finished the course. Loved it. you know, if I'm gonna drop a gem here for up and coming people in radio right here.
Sean, this is a clip.
I'm gonna drop a gem for anybody that's like starting off in radio. Network. Your internship is gold.
Ooh.
That's how I got my first
Yes, Lord.
job. You mentioned in my little intro there that iHeartRadio. That's where I got my first job. I was interning at Lincoln Financial, which back then was KS107.5. It was KYGO. It was The Fan and Smooth Jazz 104.3.
Yeah, I heard that on that episode.
You heard that?
I heard that. I wasn't sure. I'm not sure if it was the cheerleaders or the other one, but yeah, I heard that.
So as soon as you were allowed to get internships, you know, you had to wait like, I forget how much time, 2-3 months was it or something before you can get an internship when you were at Colorado Media School. As soon as I could get an internship, I hit the ground running. I got 3 different internships. I was program, what do you call that? Promotions. I was a promotions assistant for Cool 105 at the time. I did a Fox Sports Net one to see if I liked TV. And then I got on at Lincoln. And at Lincoln, I had three mentors, Slim's Playhouse. This was back in 2006.
Damn.
So Slim's Playhouse, I did nights with him. During the day, I did production director under Tom Green. Well, he was production director. I did production under Tom Green. And then Becky Taylor, who was a host on Smooth Jazz 104.3. So I followed him around, got as much as I could, knowledge, I just soaked it in.
Yeah.
And while doing that, met everybody in the building that I could. You know, I can speak now. Oops.
Yeah, exactly.
I can speak to anybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So I just network. Because my goal was to get a job there at Lincoln. Didn't pop off, but Becky knew Kathy Walker over at the news. I got Total Traffic is what it was called, over at iHeart, which back then was Clear Channel. Got me an interview with her, and that's how I got my first job. I did overnight traffic, Saturday night, Sunday night, Saturday night, Sunday night, from
you take what you can get.
From 12 midnight to 6 a.m. Saturday night and Sunday night, and I was happy. I was happy to have it. I was excited, ecstatic. Yeah,
you earned it.
Man. I did that internship for almost the whole time I could. So what was it, like a 9-10 month program. So I did that internship for almost 7 months. I actually stayed even after. That's what's really good. But back then, I would say after I graduated. So I was in there for like almost 8-9 months. But it parlayed into a job. So that's my gem to say yes. You got to say yes to everything.
Yeah.
Say yes to everything. Even if it didn't pay, say yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Which none of that really does for an internship, right? There's not very many paid internships. So
Right.
say yes, say yes, say yes, say yes. Network. Network is your net worth kind of thing, right? You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
that's such a beautiful story, dog.
So, sorry.
One
One more piece to it.
Yeah, you good.
Happy, excited to have that. My kids were barely 1 year old, twins. I was working 40 hours a week at the regular job. I would work all week, have Friday night with the fam, Saturday day. I go to bed about 6 p.m., get up at 11, do my overnight, 12 p.m. to 6 a.m., have Sunday with them, go to bed at 6 p.m. Sunday night, get up at 12, do that till 6 a.m., and go straight to work Monday morning.
Man.
And I loved it. On the grind.
Wow.
And I loved it because that's how much I want to work in radio. So there's your second gym. You got to work, man. You got to grind.
You got to.
You got to grind.
There's not enough hours in a day.
No,
you know
there
what I'm saying?
isn't.
And
So
you got to
gotta-
maximize it. You know what I'm saying? But 15 minutes is a lot of time when you know how to work it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But like, I really appreciate this story because I never got to hear the story in depth. Like I've heard about you being on the, the jazz stations and all that stuff, but like knowing the essence and like where it all derived from, like, bro, that's amazing. And I relate to the stage fright. You know what I'm saying? Because I was an introvert growing up. Like I didn't have social skills. I was kind of outcasted. I was the black sheep of the family, a black sheep of the friends, But like what art teaches you is how to step outside yourself and to make a psychological impact. You know what I mean? And like with acting, like that's the best place to do that. Because the camera's literally on you.
The
what I'm saying?
vulnerability of it all.
Yeah.
It's a whole.
You have nowhere
It's
to
a game
hide.
changer.
Yeah, exactly. You have nowhere to hide. That's a great way to
You
put
have
it, bro.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You don't.
Yeah,
and in
for
that
sure.
sense, I mean, you casting directors decide within the first 30 seconds they're talking to you if they like you or not.
Yeah.
So not only are you like can't hide, but you have to put your full front like you have to put it all out there.
Yeah,
ASAP.
it's a different type of first impression, you
Right.
know? And because we love our first impressions all the time, but like, you know, in that type of setting, because you know, I'm on the backside. I've been on the backside of just like acting, you know, so like audio production, so doing like the sound design,
Right,
like
right,
the
right.
boom mics on stage and whatnot, the lavalier stuff. Like I've been in those settings and just looking at that. It's a very stressful environment.
It is.
So like the casting side of it, you can only imagine just how stressful that is, trying to even find the right pieces for the film or, you know, the show or, you know, the personality that you're just trying to encapsulate, you know what I mean? So yeah, bro. Kudos to you, dog. Like that's a phenomenal story.
That's a great
Thank
story.
you, thank you. And
Yeah.
like I said earlier, when I do talk about myself, I try to parlay it into something that's relatable. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that
So
part.
on your grind, you got to be on your grind, man.
Yeah.
These people that feel like they're entitled, we'll get into that. I'm sure.
Yeah,
You gotta
yeah.
get that feel like
Oh, yeah, that
you're
part.
not entitled to.
Yeah.
You're entitled to jack shit. You better get your
that
ass up
part.
and work.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
nobody
part.
owes you anything.
Nobody.
Exactly.
And I think
Exactly.
that's a lot of
And
that's a
even
huge problem.
and not even that, nobody owes you anything. But when you do something, you shouldn't expect to be owed. An internship is you know what I mean? Like that's the thing. Like you need to do everything you can just to learn, right?
Yeah.
So it's like they don't know you shit. You're you know, all they're doing is giving you the opportunity to learn.
Yeah, and if
So-
you can survive it, you can, and we'll help if we can. But if you're not gonna survive it, then best of luck. You know
of
what
luck,
I'm saying?
man.
Best of luck.
So-
That's
on to the next.
Yeah, literally, because I mean, you see it with, you know, Amazon workers, you had UPS workers. It's just like there's new employees every week.
Turnover,
You know what I'm
turnover,
saying?
yeah.
Yeah. So like in the video and audio world, it's no different. You know what I mean? It's just artistic. That's the only difference. You know what I mean? But like earning your keep, displaying your value and making people understand why you're valuable.
Why?
You know what I'm saying? 'Cause like you can only do that through demonstration.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? You can't just talk about yourself and then just like they just gonna give you the job. Like when you guys sent me y'all resumes, I'm like, yeah, this is who they are.
Mhm.
I've seen this firsthand. You know what I'm saying? Well, yeah, I appreciate those gems. I appreciate you sharing your story, bro.
Thank
It's
you.
very inspirational.
Love it.
You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
yeah, Lance, what got you into broadcasting? You got into like Max Media and all that stuff.
So what originally got me into radio and to broadcasting and to podcasting was music because I was doing music. So I started making music in high school. I mean, I was freestyling. I freestyle a lot in high school, which is funny. Yeah. So
I
you
didn't
don't know
know
about King
this.
Proven?
No.
yeah, so I
didn't-
freestyled a
King
lot
Proven
in
got
high school,
bangers,
man, and
dog, yeah.
started making a name for myself even at house parties. Hey, Lance, freestyle. So then it started getting to where it was MySpace days, right? So I started putting music on MySpace, and then just kept pushing music out. And then I was like, well, I want to figure out a way to get my music out to people, other than just listen to it. So
Right.
I came up with the idea of let's start a podcast, and I'll sneak my music in there. But I'll also start getting other people's music in there. So started doing a podcast and doing like daily topics, right? And then I'm like, all right, let's go to this song. And I wouldn't tell anybody it was my music. I'd be like, let's go to this song I used to go by, because in high school my number was 9. I was quarterback and everybody called me Niner. So let's go to this song by I think, I don't know what, Big Nine or something like that.
Right.
And I'd play it and then start playing other people's music and stuff. Well, it started getting to the point where the podcast really was getting a little more popular than music. So I started bringing in other hosts and wanting to produce it. So I got a couple of my friends and started pushing music that way. Well, then it got to the point where it was getting so much traction, the podcast, that iHeartRadio, the app I was using was called Spreaker.
Yeah, shout out Spreaker.
Yeah,
Spreaker,
And you got to
man.
be there for that.
Yeah,
You
right.
know, Spreaker was an era,
Spreaker,
dog.
yeah. So Spreaker teamed up with iHeartRadio, and it popped up this promotion where it's like, hey, we're going to give people a chance to have your podcast on iHeartRadio. Got to like send it in and see if it's approved. And I'm like, oh man, whatever. It's not going to happen. So I sent it in, waited like a long time. And then finally it's like, hey, your podcast has been approved for iHeartRadio. So that was huge. And that
That's
was
fucking
super
fire.
cool because
Yeah.
that gave me the credibility to start going to people and being like, hey, I can get your music on iHeartRadio. And back
Yeah.
then, I mean, iHeartRadio is still pretty big, right? But back then, like that was like a predominant media source.
Yeah, exactly.
Before, everything else was started streaming, all this other stuff,
Right,
Spotify and all
right,
that.
Spotify, everything. Yeah.
So that really started taking off traction, and I really leveraged being in marketing. That's what I do for a living now, social media and marketing. But I think I was a little ahead of the game because I started using social media to promote that. And what I would start doing is I would start going on Instagram, and I would look up hashtag hip hop or hashtag SoundCloud, and then all these hashtags would pop up, and I would just start DMing artists and then being like, "Hey, seeing that you're an artist, I get your music on iHeartRadio if you want to send your music over." So then what they started doing is started sending me music, and then that's how I started building the audience for the podcast, because they're like, "Oh shit, my music's gonna be on iHeartRadio."
Right.
So I'd be like, "Okay, I got an artist from Texas, I got an artist from all my artists from Colorado, I got artists from here and here," and then before you know it, like just like you said, it was a mass networking event because they started sharing Turned Up TV, and before I know it, I mean, I wish I could really go back and look at the numbers, but I mean, we've done over hundreds of thousands of plays on, I'm like hundreds of thousands of plays on Spreaker with Turned Up TV, but then to be able to show them like, hey, iHeartRadio, this much plays, interviews, all that stuff. So that started just really just blowing up to where it was at the point where I was like, all right, well, how do I want to take this to the next level? So
Right.
I would be at my house, and I remember vividly, like it'd be 9 o'clock at night, and I would do my show every night religiously, and I'd have all these artists lined up, and they'd start turning in, and then they'd be sharing it on Facebook. And I would, when I'm like introducing artists and stuff, like I would close my eyes and I would introduce the songs and talk on the podcast like I was in a radio station, like
Oh,
legit,
1000%.
like being
Yeah.
like, okay, if somebody was listening to me right now and wanted to give me a shot to be on radio and do this for a living, like how I would do it. So I would do that, and I would be like, well, it's going to happen, just like you talked about, right? Like, and again, it sounds cliche, or it sounds like, dumb or whatever you want to say, like, okay, whatever, but legit, like that's what I would do. Is like I would close my eyes and be like, okay, hey, Turned Up TV, Colorado's #1 show, sports, music, entertainment, and of course Colorado hip hop. That was Riaga right there, boom, 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 boom.
I missed
And
that.
then I would hit play, right? And then I'd go back and start doing my sharing on social, and I was running everything by myself.
Yeah.
So then it started getting to the point where it's blowing up, and Larry Ulibarri, somehow we started following each other on social, and then I started like kind of sharing my stuff with him, and he's like, "Yo, this is pretty cool. I see you got a buzz. You ever thought about being an intern or getting into radio?" And I mean, I grew up listening to Larry and Kathy when I was
course.
younger, so
Colorado
they're
legends.
legends, right?
Yeah.
So when I saw that door open for me to be a part or even get close to that, I was like, what I got to do? And he's like, well, to be an intern, you got to be a student of Colorado Media School. We only take kids from Colorado Media School.
Wow.
So literally that next day, I called Colorado Media School and I was like, yo, how do I enroll? Like, how do I get up there? And I remember I even took work off, went up, signed up, got enrolled, started going to Colorado Media School. And just like Calvin said, like you have to be going to school for a little bit to be able to get your
Like
internship,
3
right?
months
So
before
yeah,
they let you.
Yeah,
So
you
if
gotta
you're
be-
real serious about it. Like they
Yeah.
want to make sure you're for real.
yeah, because you got to understand how everything works, and start
course, naturally,
all that
yeah.
stuff. Well, what was super cool about that is they had a studio there, and same thing. You can go in, you can run a podcast, you can run music interviews, and I already had the platform. So I was already ahead of the game compared to people who are barely trying to do podcasts and understand mics. So I started bringing everybody in to interview there, which gave me a lot more credibility because they'd show up, be like, oh, this is a cool studio. Like
Yeah.
if you've been down to what's the name of it down there? The area where Colorado Belmar, right?
Oh,
They're
yeah,
not there.
Belmar.
They're not there anymore.
Yeah, they're not there anymore. But
when they were there, they had that
Man.
studio in the front.
yeah, and it was on the corner, and people would walk by. Right, like it was super cool because like people would walk by, you could hear music from outside, and like it was just like the artists just were like, "Damn, this is super cool." I'm getting interviewed, like so. I started bringing artists up from Greeley, started bringing artists in from all over, and utilizing that. And I mean, I used to live there, bro. So I lived in Loveland at the time. I was working up there.
Wow.
And it's funny because again, I mean, regular grind. Like I'm a licensed locksmith.
Right.
Which is crazy, right?
Did not know that.
Hated it, absolutely hated it. Did not like working on doors, making keys. Like I was a locksmith at a school.
Right.
So I lived in Loveland, so every day I had to go back. So I would stay at the studio as long as I could till like 9 o'clock. I think they closed at 10 o'clock at night, and then I would drive back to Loveland, go to work, and as soon as it was done, I'd head back up here to hit the school, do interviews and all that. But just like you were talking about, like it was grind, right?
Yeah.
Like it was grind. So it got to the point where ended up finally getting asked to do an internship or do an interview for Flow 1071 and JAMA 1015. And I went in, got the internship, and I mean, I was just so stoked, dude. Like, it was one of the coolest things that's ever happened to me.
Yeah, it's so rewarding, right?
It was cool. I mean, like, to be like, hey, yo, I'm gonna be working with Larry Ulibarri, I'm gonna be working with Slim, I'm gonna be working with Kendall B. You know, all these legends that, like, you as in Colorado, you hear on the radio, and if that's what you want to do, you want to be working with those people. So started doing internship, and just like Calvin said, you know, started small, started doing promotions. And again, what people understand is, like, internships, and some people think you get paid for internships, and some you do. Like, they're very few, but
in between.
Internships, again, that was totally free. So what I would do is I would go to work, then I'd go to Colorado Media School, and then after that, I'd go over and I'd go to the station and I would work there till 11, 12 o'clock at night, and then I'd drive all the way back to Loveland, and I'd do it all again every day. Well, it started going to the point where I was like, all right, if I want to take this to the next level, like, I have to make a decision. Do I want to do something I hate my whole life, as in being a locksmith, or do I want to let go and just pursue this and hopefully land on my feet and get a job and make money to be able to support myself and my daughter?
Right.
So I ended up quitting that job, which I was getting paid pretty decent money to basically work for free.
Yeah.
Which is super scary, right? As a parent, like, you're like, how am I going to provide for my kids? So I got to the point where I was able to save enough money to coast for a little bit. But again, it was like, you're working for free, and it would get to the point where I was like, I can't drive back to Loveland no more. Luckily, my grandma lived here, so I would stay with her sometimes, but for the most part, I would sleep at the, like, dead ass serious, I would sleep at the station. Like, I would go to work at 6 a.m. to help at 5:30 in the morning, help with the morning show, and then stay there all damn day till about 7, 8 o'clock. That's when everybody starts trickling out. Like, you know, the evening host, like, does his last thing around 7. Well, then everybody leaves, and I would be there by myself, and I'd be like, yeah, I'm going to finish some stuff up. Well, I'd just go in and start working in the studio and working on commercials, and then they had a couch in the back where, like, no one really could see you, so I would sleep there. And, like, in the middle of the night when I had to use the restroom, I had to crack the door open, run out, use the restroom outside the studio, come back in, sleep. Because the same thing, too, is, like, I have to be back here at 4:30 in the morning for the morning show. So to drive back down to Loveland, or to drive back down, because my grandma used to live right here by the Coliseum right down the street. So that's still a drive to Aurora. You know, like, I would crash out on that couch, and I just had a lot of time by myself, which was crazy. But I was in the studio, and I loved it, and I was waking up to do the morning show. I was waking up to do what I love. Well, it finally got to the point, too, where I was like, yo, I love doing this internship. And I told him, I was like, there's no, as you know, there's only 4 positions on radio, right? Like, it's like, there's morning, there's midday, there's afternoon, and there's nights. So I wanted to be on radio, and they're like, there's just no positions open, but we want to find a way to keep you, but we just don't know what to do. And I'm like, and I told him, I was like, you know, I want to stay here. I was like, but I get to the point, I have to start making money to support my daughter and support myself. Well, it was cool because they seen the grind that I put in, where they ended up making me promotions director. So I was starting being the director of promotions. That led me, and I was doing, helping produce the morning show with producer Bolte. Shout out my boy Bolte. And then it got to the position where I ended up being the director of digital marketing and social media. So I was doing all our marketing, and that's how I got into marketing and into content creation, because I wanted to be in behind the mic and doing stuff, but there was no room for me. So I'm like, well, what else can I do to stay here and keep my dream alive in radio? So I started doing videos, I started doing content, I started going live, streaming, all that stuff for Larry and Kathy in the morning, and then on promotions I would go and get videos or concerts. And then that led just to being in radio, man, which again was one of the coolest times, and one of the I think one of the things that I'm most proud of, because I mean, coming from Greeley, I know it's not that far from Denver, but there's not a lot of opportunities like that in Greeley. I mean, there's zero. I mean, I think we have a radio station down there, but it's small.
It's a college town.
AM station, college radio. So there's nothing that, like, you can make a living on. Like, and there are some people that do, and I don't want to discredit them, but you know, I wanted to do something bigger than that. And to be able to be like, yeah, I'm the digital director for Max Media, which was super cool. I had my own
And that's a
office.
flex, you feel me?
Yeah, my
The
daughter
titles
at the
and stuff.
time, she lived down the street. Like, I'm not even joking, 5 minutes. So it was amazing because I got to bring her into the studio at times and spend extra time with her because I was so close to her. And it was amazing, man. It was one of the coolest times, and I met so many people. I mean, so many artists. Got to go to so many concerts, and that gave me credibility too because now I started hosting shows.
Right.
Which I started getting paid to host events around Denver because I'd be like, they're like, hey, Lance from Flow 1071 or Lance from Jammo 1015. Just having that attached to you, people are like, it's credibility.
You was looking fly on those flyers too.
Yeah.
I was there for a lot
I was
of that.
posting up on it, right?
Yeah. I'd be like, Lance is a whole ass celebrity.
And then we started doing open mics, which was one of the coolest things that we've ever been able to do is do some of the open mics, which is really cool. And it led me to so many opportunities. And at that time, I mean, I didn't really know nobody in Denver. I had a couple friends, but it really made me gave me friends. This is weird as that sounds. Like, I left everybody behind in Greeley, and everybody behind in Greeley kind of just went to their normal, let's go 9 to 5. And, nothing wrong with that.
Right.
But I just wanted something a little bit bigger and something that I think that I'll be honest, that I deserved.
Yeah,
especially grinding and
exactly.
staying up at night, playing a podcast from my iPad. And it led me to, meeting people like you guys, which is so cool because again, I probably would have never ever came in contact with you, with Tucson, with DJ Coase, with so many different artists that, I've built, lifetime friendships with and being able to have, I guess, a sense of belonging in the city. Because that's the other thing too, is when I first started, I would come from Greeley. I didn't know nobody, bro. So I would come to like Trev Rich's show. I would come to AP's show, Trace Chapman's show, and I would start networking. But it was hard because nobody knew who I was.
Exactly.
Nobody knew who I was. They're like, "Who's this Mexican kid coming up to me, like asking for interviews or asking to do stuff?" So like, and I'd be like, "Hey, can I get you on Turned Up TV?" And they're like, "What the fuck is Turned Up TV?"
Yeah,
Like,
little did they know.
right?
Little did they know.
But same. I mean, I remember driving to KMG Studios by myself to go do their networking parties, or driving up to again Trev Rich's album release parties by myself because I knew that if I network and start getting in with the right people, that's going to help build a buzz.
Yeah.
And that was pretty much it, man, is being able to get into radio. And then kind of to wrap up, radio. And I know you'll ask this question later, so we'll get into kind of what happened to Turned Up TV. But
for sure.
what happened to with Max Media is it was one of the best times of my life, right? I was in radio. I was meeting all these people. I was on top of the world.
Right.
And then COVID hit.
Yeah, I was there for that too.
So, one day I'm just working away and all the executives just start trickling in my office. And I'm like, oh shit, all right, what's going on here?
Yeah.
And they're like, hey man, I hate to let you know that, we're going to have to let you go. Your position's been terminated because in radio, I mean, obviously everything closed in COVID, right?
Yeah, of course.
No concerts, no restaurants, no events. That's where the money comes from, sponsorships, right?
Exactly.
Like them paying to advertise. That dried up, and I just remember sitting there, bro, and I was just like, man, like I didn't know what I was gonna do. Like I remember, I'm not gonna lie, but like I was in tears, like packing my shit up because I'm like, I worked so hard for this, and now it's gone. And it's not like you can just get another digital directing job in radio, right? Like I was very fortunate to be able to have that position because it takes people a long time to get there. And I'm not saying that I didn't work hard, because I did work hard to get there, but it's even if people who work hard, you don't get to that position as quick as I did.
Right.
And a lot had to do with certain people getting let go of the stations, and positions need to be filled. So I'm not saying like, I was the best in the world and that's why I got it. A lot of things went my way, but a lot of things also went my way working wise, that they're like, we'll let you have that position. So didn't have that, man. And, I remember packing my stuff up and I never went back to Max Media. I never talked to anyone again. I remember one of the guys is like, once things pick back up, we'll call you. And I hung on to that for a little bit, but after that, man, that was pretty much it. And, we kept doing Turns Up TV for a while, and that's kind of how I got into radio and how I was able to make a little bit of splash in the scene of music here in Denver.
Man, bro, that story is fucking ridiculous, because I was there for about half of it. You know what I'm saying? Like we entered each other's lives around the Lakewood, Belmar part of the story. But everything before that, though, I did not know you was like sleeping in a studio. I didn't know you was like, you were barely sleeping, bro. If anything,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? And it's like, really taking that gamble of just, this is what I want to do. And, I will shamelessly sleep on the floor. I will shamelessly eat breadcrumbs. You know what I'm saying? Like, you've literally done that, and you reap the fruits of your benefit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Fruits of your labor.
Well, I had a nice little apartment in Loveland, right? And I was driving a nice car, but then it went to sleeping on my grandma's couch.
Right.
And she used to live right down the street, right by the Coliseum, and those neighborhoods aren't the nice. She didn't have
the turf, bro.
She didn't have the nicest house, and it was tiny, and I didn't have a bed. She had a couch that I slept on. Had to get a different car because I couldn't afford the car I was driving anymore. So it was super humbling to go from having my own apartment, I was driving a Mercedes, I lived by myself, I had a great job, to having a shitty car, sleeping on my grandma's couch, barely having money. But I knew, and I always knew that, and I think you kind of understand that sacrifices, right? Like, this is gonna pay off. Like, the universe will give back to you because there's no way you can work this hard and want something this bad and know that you're working this hard and not feel entitled like you talked about. Most people are like, I'm going to get it no matter what.
The sacrifice is too drastic of a change to not have something work in your favor.
Right,
you know what I'm saying? Because like the amount of energy that you put into something, like the universe always rewards energy, whether it's positive or negative. That's why people have money. Good people have money, bad people have money. But it's the energy that they put into it that brings the money in. You know what I'm saying? And with what we do, because, I've had similar stories like that. Like, when you have that sort of sacrifice, when you believe and you gamble on yourself so much, the biggest rewards come. Like, to a point, sometimes, like, you even skip steps. You know what I mean? Like, there's certain opportunities I got where I'm like, damn, like, I didn't even like get on the radio yet, or like I didn't even, get a million streams like that. And this shit just fell in my lap. But it's because of how hard I've worked, and as you said, the energy, because like I'm big on respect, because you just don't know who you're talking to, dog. Yeah. You don't know if you're talking to your next investor. You don't know if you're talking to, your wife. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, but on the flip side of that, you don't know if you're talking to a mafioso. You don't know if you're talking to like, the next big villain like Thanos. You know what I mean? Right. Like, you just don't know who you're talking. Snap. Yeah, exactly. Snap on your ass. You feel me? Like you just don't know who you're talking to. So it's important. It's super important to just like go into everything with grace, speak to people with tact, you know what I'm saying? Like, and leave room for possibility within friendship, because that's how we're here. You know what I'm saying? And like, I love how you put that, because I feel like what brought us together was music, but when we actually got to sit down and talk to each other, invite each other out to certain things, it's like we all became family. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That's and it's like, you invited me to your birthday a couple of years ago. Like, that meant the world to me, bro. Yeah,
my family loved you.
Yeah, man. And I love your family. You know what I'm saying? Respectfully, you're the only 50-year-old I know who's not like an uncle or like a parent. You know what I'm saying?
I appreciate that.
Yeah, I brag about you to my friends all the time. Just like, yeah, Calvin's 51. He don't look like it though, huh?
No, I would never guess.
Mr. Black don't crack. You know?
You be drinking smoothies, don't you?
Yeah. Be on those,
Yeah, for sure. I really
be on the juices and berries.
Yeah, that part, bro. But no, I really appreciate that story, bro. And you're one of my heroes, bro. You're one of my heroes, bro. For real. Just knowing that story and getting to know you throughout the years. You know what I'm saying? Building that brotherhood. I'm just like, I'm so proud of you, bro.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
And what's cool about it is I'm big on hearing people's backstories. It's one of the reasons I started Callywood. So it's cool to come into this setting and hear that. Like, I didn't know you were a locksmith. I knew you went to Colorado Media School, but just like me talking about the grind I put in, to hear that, you know what I mean? Because you're right. A lot of us in this industry were built different. You mentioned gamble on yourself. Right. We will. And believe me, there's times I gambled probably too much on myself.
Yeah, exactly. Like irrationally, right?
Irrationally,
like delusionally. If that's a word.
Yeah, delusionally. Yeah, irrationally.
Yeah, all that, bro. All that.
But yeah, man, I'm right there with you, because we just, you believe in this plight, this path so much that it's like it can't go wrong. Well, I mean, it can't. I'm not gonna say it can't go wrong, but you know what I mean. That you're doing the right thing by this gamble.
Yeah, exactly.
And you know what I mean? I've always felt that way. And some stuff works out. Sometimes it's 10 steps back to get 5 forward. Yeah. Sometimes it's 5 forward, and what have you. But you have to, put your big boy pants on at some time. If you're really gonna do what your goals are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Does
And
that
I
make
think-
sense? That
Yeah.
you have to get. I'm not telling everybody go gamble the boat, your house, your job, and everything like that.
Yeah,
but I
that part,
mean,
yeah.
there's gonna be There's got to be There's no way
Somewhere.
you can.
Somewhere.
And you know,
There
there-
is no way everything's just easy.
And you know
There's
what's funny?
no
You
way.
talking about sacrifices. I think a lot of people, what they don't understand is sometimes you have to sacrifice your pride. And what goes
yes.
into that is, and a perfect example is, I have never been, and this drives me crazy with today's kids, and I deal with it with my own kids sometimes. Is I've never been so prideful to not take a job that I knew was gonna help me advance myself in life. And a perfect example is, and I tell my daughter this all the time, I'm like, go to school, get good grades, because I wish I would have done that so I could have got a better job. Because you know, example why is I'm dead ass was a janitor at the time.
Right.
And is that a little embarrassing? I mean, to some people, yeah, but I mean, to me, it was at times. But I never was so prideful to be like, you know what, I'm not gonna go clean. I had to clean the school. Right? They called me a building maintenance person, but I was a janitor. I worked out of a janitor's closet.
Yeah.
I swept, I cleaned, but that was something that most people, but I knew that was going to pay for gas to get to Denver. I knew that was going to pay for whatever I needed to advance myself where I'm going to go.
Right.
And that's what I sacrificed, was my pride. And a lot of people are like, I ain't going to fucking work at McDonald's, or I ain't going to work as a janitor or as a locksmith. I'd rather not make that money and stay cool and struggle to try to make my dream, rather than throw that extra money into promotion, throw that money that you're making from this job that's eventually going to get there. And I think, like you said, a lot of artists, I've seen this a lot, is they won't sacrifice their pride to be able to advance themselves in life, not just their career. So if you have to be a janitor for about a year or 3 months, whatever it was, like, sacrifice your pride and do it. I mean, I did. And I think today you talk about entitlement. A lot of kids are like, I ain't going to go work
They
that
feel
job.
that way. You know, you've got to do what you got to do until you can do what you want to do.
Yeah, exactly.
I love that.
That's
I
what
love
you got to
that.
do. And
Yeah.
along the same lines, the whole Callywood side of things, you know, I started in 2010, had the cool downtown radio station 2012, and 2 years into it, like I said, I gambled on myself a lot.
Yeah.
I had a chip on my shoulders, like, this is not going to fail. Some people just didn't understand why I'm doing it and what have you. And by the end of 2014, like those first 2 years when I launched the radio station, it was just a party place. Like, it wasn't a business. It was just a fun time.
Yeah, it's like when you start doing those type of things, it just becomes like a kickback. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's just going there to hang out.
Just go
you know,
hang out,
You're not putting up material. You know what I'm saying? You're not putting together quality. Like but the vibe is there.
The vibe is
Yep.
there. Yeah,
The vibe is
energy
there, but
and-
you don't know how to bring it together and actually have structure and get work done just yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
when you finally get your spot, it's like, well, yeah, I've been wanting my own spot like this for a minute, whether that's, you know, a home or a studio or, you know, because you work hard for those places.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And paying rent on a studio and paying like home rent, you know, like at the same time, and you're able to do that, you know what I'm saying? You want to enjoy the fruits of your labor. So obviously you start, you know, kind of drifting off and being like, yeah, we're just going to hang out. But once you actually have that structure, but I think where a lot of people go wrong is that they might have those spaces, but there's not a vision to it. You know how many studios that I've seen come and went all because like they're just hood niggas with money, bro.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's just like they don't have real engineers. They don't have real, you know, microphone setups, no soundproof. Like, you know, they're just going based off of the popularity and the image. And that doesn't build
Foundation.
Yeah, that doesn't build foundation. And there's no possibility for like true success. You know what I mean? Because it's just like, okay, well, if we're having a party at the studio, I could have done that at, you know, nowadays M status. You know what I'm saying? Like I could have went out and got a bottle or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like I came here because I thought, you know, we were able to meet people in the music industry, like going from independent to, you know, a national recording label situation, you know what I'm saying? And just, I don't know, people just, but I also gotta keep in mind too, not everyone has the same dream as you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like everybody is
Has
in
the
this for a
dream,
different,
but-
you know what I'm saying?
Not, maybe not the same.
Yeah, exactly. Like I want to be the next Jay-Z. They probably just want to be, you know, cool to their friends, you know what I'm saying? Like selling out the marquee. Like there's nothing wrong with that. But if that's your Madison Square Garden, I'll let that be your Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, that's
a
good point.
I'm gonna go try and see what it takes to fill out Madison Square Garden. You know what I'm saying? We just have different goals in mind. You know what I'm saying? But speaking of that, yeah, as far as like broadcasting is concerned, like what were your guys' like initial goals starting out in broadcasting? Like, was it always trying to be like an on-air personality? Was it to have your own, show, FM radio situation? Like, what was y'all's goals in broadcasting initially?
Yeah, when I first got into radio, like I mentioned, when I was out in LA, and they had the big name host out there,
right?
Like I said earlier, Big Boy, and that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be like Ryan Seacrest. That was my goal when I first got into radio.
That's a great goal to have.
I ain't even gonna lie. I wanted to be a radio
to just
host.
be charming on stage, and like, just get paid millions. Yeah, that's fire, bro.
Like I was, my thought process was like, I'm really good I'm a pretty good actor. You know what I mean? I was a commercial actor. I did a lot of that type acting, a little bit of film. It wasn't theater. It wasn't TV. But I'm like, I got a great personality. And I think I got a great voice. Over the years, it's funny because a lot of people would say like phone voice, you know what I mean? I worked a lot of customer service. I worked at AT&T, jobs is a different thing. And people are like, oh man, you got a really nice voice.
Right.
Like this is like everything I've done up to this point, up to when I first got in radio, is a strength for radio. You know what I mean? So I'm like, I'm going to be an on-air host. A lot fucking harder than it seems, as we know, right? Even to get into business.
Bro.
Yeah. So when I first got in, that was my goal, is I wanted to be like a big time, all those cool ass big time radio hosts in New York and LA and what have you. And but definitely it changed once I got into those internship roles and how much I like production. The reason I went back and got the audio engineer degree was because the production I was doing in radio. It's like, this is fucking cool. Yeah, I really like this part.
Yeah, and then get into the intricacies of it. Yeah.
So by year number 2, 3, my was behind the scenes audio engineer type radio.
Right.
Radio.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what's so funny about that, before I get into you, Lance? Like, you wanted to be like, the next Big Boy, Charlamagne and God type of person. I feel like you still became that, but your path just came in a roundabout way. Yeah. Because that's really how you're like, I mean, you can attest to this, Lance. Like, I feel like you're regarded in that same way in the community. You know what I'm saying? And people hold you to that standard, and people see you as such. But like, is it on KS175? No, but that doesn't mean that you don't have the same sort of impact and, personality and the charm that,
that goes
into that.
Yeah, definitely. I ain't making Seacrest money, but I'm happy.
No, the cachet is there, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like there's a couple times that I've definitely pushed to try to be one of those DJs, like on a KS or the party, and like I said back in the early days, definitely that was the goal was to do that. But no, thank you for that recognition, because man, I think I have freedom.
You can tell.
I have freedom to say what I want to say, do what I want to say. You know what I mean?
You've been walking around doing some things that a lot of people can't do in the city, dog, for real.
Yeah. But it's very constraining, and it's not a knock on any radio out there or what have you. But I got grandiose ideas, and you know what I mean? And sometimes like, I'm gonna try this, and to be able to try it is cool. So,
exactly.
and I agree with that. I think the path, I'm a big believer in fate.
Yeah.
And the path I'm on is the path I was meant to be on.
I love that.
Yeah, because even when you stepped away, it came back to you. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying that you ever like stepped away, like, you just completely quit, but I'm sure like when you had those moments, at least, because we all have those moments.
Yeah.
I had that moment like last week. I was just like, fuck this shit, I'm gonna quit.
I'm done.
No, we did. I mean, dude, bro.
I hate it here. You know what I'm saying? But like it always comes back. No matter what, even without trying sometimes. Sometimes people will just pop up out of nowhere like, hey, you want to do an interview today? Hey, you want to do a show? Hey, when's the new music coming? Do you have a show coming up? It's just like, you've done something for so long, and that sacrifice that we're talking about, it's so much effort that just like, even on your bad days or even when you're not trying, like it comes back to you and it reminds you of how far you have come and that your progress has made impact, but most importantly, it's been effective. Like there's a tangible result from my sacrifice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
One thing.
Just before I did want to mention something, but I don't think Lance answered that question yet.
Okay.
About
Okay.
No. You didn't answer the question before I get into this tangent.
Okay.
You didn't answer what did you want to do when you first? Sorry, what do you want to do when you first got into radio? Because I was going to get in a whole nother tangent that you just reminded me. Squirrel moment.
Squirrel moment.
I don't want to get in that conversation because it could go down a rabbit hole without him getting.
But it might be bounce off of what I'm going to say.
Yeah. I feel like everything we're talking about is bouncing off of each other.
Yeah, because what you're talking about is, you have those moments that like make yourself, and I live my life by this quote, is adversity will introduce a man to himself.
Always. Yes. It's a cliche, but it's the most accurate.
It's what kind of person are you when shit hits the fan, right? And I try to live my life by that. And we all fail, right? There's times when things go wrong and we don't react to it the way that we want to or the way that we know we should, and we act ashamed at times because but for the most part, I do try to live my life that way. Is like when things are going wrong, like who are you going to be?
Who are you going to be?
You know, exactly. Like in going back to the radio thing is, what made me get into broadcasting, just like you said, is I wanted to have this big name and personality. I listened to Jim Rome. I listened to the Dan Patrick Show. I listened to Charlemagne the God. I listened to all these different big personalities, and I saw the platform they had, and I wanted that so bad because it was what I wanted to do, right? It's like watching an athlete and you want to be a football player. You're watching, any of these athletes that you want to be like if you're an athlete, and that's what we wanted to do and what we looked up to, and that's why we wanted to get into it. Right. But again, sometimes like that's just not what God has chosen for you. Yeah. Like that's just not your path. And a lot of people, going back to pride, don't realize that is what the case is. Yeah. And I see a lot of people waste time and waste energy and waste money on pursuing something that no matter how hard you try, maybe you just need to realize, you know what, as much as I love this, maybe this just isn't my path. Right.
Yeah, exactly.
And I see rappers, specifically artists, who, just to be upfront, and we all know this, you just ain't that good.
Yeah. You're trash, actually.
Yeah, you're just.
Let's keep it raggy. Like,
but we were just talking, not even rappers. We were just talking about radio personalities and podcast hosts. You're just not that good.
You're just not that
and
good.
It's okay. Like, it's okay to fail and you tried it, but there comes a point when you have to realize, am I holding myself up in life, chasing something that is just not going to happen? I'm not getting the response from people that I think I'm going to get. Right. I'm not getting the interviews I should get. I'm not getting the scouts at my game, whatever it is. Yeah. I think that's just being real. And that pride part is being like, you know what, as much as I love this just isn't for me and it's just not going to happen.
It's a true conversation with yourself. Like you said earlier, sometimes you got to talk to yourself.
Yeah. Right? And, I've learned this within the past 3 years, you know what I'm saying? Because, I know there's progress because it's a different year every year and it's in the right direction. But for people who don't have that type of trajectory, don't have the moment, I think it's important to ask yourself and really be honest. Am I a star? Do I have that it factor, or do I have a niche that makes everybody stand still and want to pay attention to me? That can be an appearance, that can be a mentality, that can be in a voice, you know what I'm saying? That can be in fashion, that can be in, the team that's around you even, because sometimes like you have value, but it's your team that make you go and then they succeed and then you're brought up, you know what I'm saying? It's a lot of different dynamics, but am I a star? Do people want to get to know me? Do people want to pay attention to me? And if so, what are those people? You know what I'm saying? Who are those people? Like, because
and why do they want to pay?
Yeah, exactly. Because there's a room for a Taylor Swift, but there's also room for a Beyonce.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And then there's room for a K-pop artist. There's room for, people from Indonesia to succeed. Like everyone has their lane, but if you haven't figured out your lane and you've been in this lane for a minute and nothing has been affected, and at least try to do something different, then like essentially like all of this was for nothing. You know what I mean? Because you've gained the experience of going down this one lane for years and years and years on end. You know the in and outs of stuff. But like if all of a sudden they tell you, like if you go from just cooking fish your entire life, and then all of a sudden when somebody was just like, yo, I think you'd be good at making ice cream. And then you get more of a response from making ice cream than you do making the fish and the chicken. Like, you'd be remiss and you'd be a fool not to try ice cream after going down this road for 5 years.
But some people are like, but I love cooking fish, so
And-
I'm
and
in a
that's-
steak.
but-
And I'm
cooking-
comfortable cooking.
Yeah, and you're like, but
and this is
bro,
all I know, right?
Yeah,
But people
people are like,
stick to what they know.
you
know
can
what I'm saying?
succeed at ice cream
Yeah.
if you just change your mindset.
Yeah,
But they
exactly.
stick to that, and that's what they
I
want to
gotta
do.
go learn how to make ice cream.
Yeah.
though.
But the thing about that though, it's so funny. But that's dead ass a
just
mood.
too much work.
No, it's dead ass a mood. But I feel like in most cases though, when that happens, when people transition, more times than not, it's so natural. Like when people go into the ice cream realm and they don't know how to make ice cream, but they make ice cream better than the person that did it for 5 years, the inverse of that. You know what I mean? Like that.
I agree. I agree with that. 'Cause like I said earlier, I'm a good actor. I'm not great. I know I'm not a star. I'm not a walk in a room, everybody turns and stops
Right.
at that acting thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
But definitely, that was my fish. Radio is my ice cream.
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
that
this
part,
is
yeah.
my world. Like,
Yeah.
it just clicked. Yeah, it just clicked.
Yeah, that part.
And I mean, I spent years acting coaches and classes and voice training and everything.
Trying to
just
get better.
Trying to get better.
Yeah, I mean.
And I'm saying, not to say that I wasn't good at it, but was I ever going to be great? Was I going to be the next Denzel or Cuba as I planned?
Yeah.
No, probably not.
Yeah, which is why, like, I mean, y'all are my boys. Y'all know my catalog. You know what I'm saying? Just to talk about me just a little bit.
Yeah.
Like,
Go ahead. Talk your stuff.
y'all have known me for rap. That's how y'all got introduced to me. You know what I'm saying? Senor Blocker, Pray for the Week, Money Flip. You know what I'm saying? I was doing that for years. So 2018 to 2023, right? It's been hip hop Riaga all the way through. You've been there for the This Is Important stuff, the Quiet Kid, you know what I'm saying? All these different things. But the thing that really took off without me even trying was the reggaeton stuff.
Yeah.
So when I see this happening, and I have pretty good self-awareness. I get I want to read the tea leaves when it comes to certain things. You know what I'm saying? What's gonna lead me to good fortune? When I see something that I put a fourth of the work that I would put into a 16-bar rap and have that take me farther than anything that I've done within the 30, 40 mixtape songs that I put out. Do I want to do another 40 mixtapes or do I want to do another reggaeton song that makes up for that amount of work?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And sure enough, like, showing y'all our key, you saw what our key did when I gave y'all the record. Like, you spun it, Coach was spinning it, got on
Bangers.
4.7. It was just like, it was a reaction that I never had before.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't I go down this path that leads me to good fortune? And it puts me in a better space too.
Yeah.
Because I was rapping out of rage, anxiety, depression. Like reggaeton, like I'm me and my happy self.
I mean,
You know
this
what I'm
is my feel good. Yeah,
Yeah, this is
not
my
that
feel
other
good,
stuff
dog.
is not needed. It's
Right,
all
right.
therapeutic. It was all therapeutic, but
Yeah.
and going back to the ice cream fish reference, it's out of your comfort zone. You know what I
Right.
mean? If it gets you out of that lane, that what's the word I'm looking for? That complacent.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
that you're making the same song over and over and over. That's not
Yeah.
what you're doing with all the 40 songs of mixtape. But
Right.
I think, and I said this when I first heard it, was like, yo, man, this is definitely outside your box, which is a good thing.
Yeah, that
right?
part.
Which is
Yeah.
a good thing. It's not.
And it's so funny because like this ice cream and chicken reference is going to fucking because as someone who has done the rap shit, like what I actually listened to it in comparison to the music that I made at that time were two entirely different things. Reggaeton is what I listen to all the time. I always listen to R&B. I always listen to the twerk stuff from Tyga and stuff like that. But like for the reference sake, the ice cream is always in the fridge. You know what I'm saying? Like you were just cooking the chicken and the fish more than going
Than
into the
looking in the
freezer.
freezer.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. You know what I'm
freezer,
saying? And just like one day you was just like, all right, I'm gonna try some ice cream, and then the ice cream just did something different that the chicken and fish couldn't, dog.
It's
You know what I
different.
mean?
And that goes back to what happened with me in my career is doing interviews and doing Turns Up TV and doing the podcast. It was good and we made a great buzz and we had a big name, but what it came down to is and radio is where was it leading, and
Yeah.
it wasn't
Right.
leading to anything big at the time.
Right.
When I went to my ice cream, And I started dipping in marketing, and I started dipping in social media content, and I realized that there was money to be made, bigger money than I was even coming close to in radio and even close to in podcasting. That's where it was. And to this day, as much as I love radio, I'm like, I would have never been where I am today in life if I stayed at the radio station, because no shade to the station or anything. I just would have never got to the level of success if I had financially, everything that I have in my life right now, my family, my wife, my kids, my house, financial security I have would have never came at the radio station. But I love that so much. But I had to realize, like, even though I love doing that so much, like, I love my family more. Like, I love my wife more. Like, I love my kids, like all 4 of my kids. I love my house. I love, like, the life I have now. I love, and I couldn't even imagine, like, not having that, but having radio and still being in that, chasing that dream. So again, like, finding that positive, and we always say it, like, everything happens for a reason, but like, if you truly believe it, like, it really does. And like you said, sometimes things fall on your lap that you don't even expect.
Right.
Yeah. Like, and I mean, example is like today, my car was acting up, right? So I had to find a body shop or auto shop in Greeley to check on it. And when I called, it was one of my old buddies, his dad owns it. And he's like, "Oh, Lance, yeah, we can get your car in and check it out." And he's like, "What have you been doing?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm doing marketing, got my own business." He's all, "We've actually been looking for marketing."
Bam.
He's all, "How about you come in on Monday when you bring your car? We'll sit down and we'll talk." And I'm like, this morning I was so stressed about my whip because I need that for everywhere I go.
Yeah.
But I'm like, that led me to potentially having a new client, like, which is insane. Like, that bad thing came in and be good. So hopefully they fix my car and hopefully I'm able to lock another client up. So I think it's just always keeping your head up and just knowing that, even if things suck, as much as, like you say, acting didn't work out, but it led you to being able to have such a big name in the city with radio, other than what you could have kept chasing for acting that might have not been.
And you don't, and I feel like, this goes along with the pride thing that you're talking about, bro. Like, you're not obligated to stay somewhere just because of said sacrifice and time that you put in. Every dog has his day.
I think you need to repeat that. People need to hear that.
Say it again. Say it again. Say it again.
For the people in cheap seats.
I said. For the nosebleeds, goddamn
people up top.
In case you didn't hear this,
you are not obligated to stay somewhere just because of the sacrifices that you made, the time you put in. Like, much like, because I mean, there's a time for middle school in your life, but then there's that time for high school, and then there's that time for college, and then, there's a time after college. Like, there are parts of your life where it's absolutely necessary to do certain things, to learn certain things at the point of development that you are at. I don't expect a 13-year-old to know where an 18-year-old is at. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But for what's happening at 13, this is good. You know what I'm saying? But when you get to 15, when you get to 16, you got to grow out of certain things.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
True.
You got to develop. And you don't lose yourself in it. You know what I'm saying? Because you're always going to be yourself. You know what I'm saying? One of the greatest luxuries that we have every day is that we get to wake up and be ourselves, whether we realize it or not. It's sad when somebody doesn't know it, but when you do, it's an amazing thing. It takes a lot to get there. But nonetheless, like, just knowing when to move on in certain development. You can't stay on the training wheels forever.
God,
and honestly, you're not going to ride a bike forever. You got to drive a car. And then you got to learn.
I'm trying to fly this motherfucker.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, sooner or later, you learn to go on the airplane. Sooner or later, you get to the airplane, dog. You know what I'm saying? And that's just important. But I understand it. You just, we're proud of the work, dog. We're proud of the work that we've done. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And, we sit here and we say it. It's definitely a lot easier to say than doing it. And I think we've all been in that situation scenario.
Yeah.
The positive outlook I try to take is the strengths I acquired during that time.
Right.
Money spent, time,
Right.
this, that, and so much more. To look at it and just be negative, like, fuck, man, I'm talking, acting coaches, voice training. That's not cheap. You know what I mean?
Not.
I put way
and this
more,
is in California when you did that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not cheap at all.
Put way more money in than I ever got out of it. And I made some good checks. I made some pretty good checks at it. But the strengths, and you had mentioned this earlier, failing. You know what I mean? If you're not failing, you're not trying.
exactly.
That's what it comes down to.
And then what be happening in that? I've been talking about this with my friends lately. Like, I feel like everyone plays it safe, and people compare who is playing it the safest. You know what I mean? Because like, it's just like with what we've done, like y'all stories alone, that takes risk. And you have to be shameless with everything that you've done to get to where you needed to go. You know what I'm saying? Everything you did for Max Media, everything you did in Colorado and California, like that took disassociating and unattaching yourself from, public perception. Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
I speak well.
Yeah, that part. I just rap, you feel me? But yeah, it takes a certain level of removal to go into these spaces and try to acquire a certain success that I've had in my head for years on end. You know what I mean? But when people see what it takes to do that, they automatically get scared. They don't like, and it's understandable because sometimes I look at my bank account and I'm like, nah, what am I doing, dog?
Right.
This is not healthy. This is not okay. Like, how am I going to pay my car this month? How am I going to pay rent this month? Type shit. You know what I mean? But the good fortune always comes. You know what I'm saying? But everybody is in it to play it safe, though, and that's why you see a lot of people just go to work and go home every day. You know what I'm saying? Like, if they luck out and find a man or girl that they like, they just lock them down and they just like bring them into that lifestyle and they don't do anything else. You know what I mean? Like, whereas with us, it's just like, well, I gotta go outside to win. I gotta do this to win. Like, I'm not just gonna be another name tag at a Safeway. You know what I mean? Like, I refuse to be that, and I refuse to believe that I'm gonna live anywhere from 50 to 100 years on this earth and let that be my story at my tombstone.
Oh man, I love that. I love that because I think about that all the time with a lot of people that I run into that are older than me or not even old, just no matter who it is, and I see them doing something, and I'm like, when you're done, are you going to be happy that that's your legacy? Like that you went and worked this job that you probably hated, that you had this life that you didn't have anything to be proud of, but you continuously kept doing it over and over and over and didn't want anything better for yourself. I'm like, and I say it all the time, and I talk to my wife about this. I'm like, she's like, well, we've had these conversations and we talk about people, and she's like, well, that's just who they are. And I'm like, well, that's fine. And I understand that. I was like, but I want to be great.
Yeah.
And I don't think a lot of people want to be great.
Yeah.
And you can be great at whatever you do, but are you advancing to yourself to be great? Like you talked about being at Safeway. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Great job, benefits, whatever it is. But are you pursuing to eventually be the manager, then the general manager, then the regional manager?
That's what I be asking. Right?
There's nothing wrong with working at Safeway, but are you trying to? Are you trying to be at the top of Safeway, which would definitely be amazing and set you up for life, or are you happy at staying at the same position at that job for the rest of your life?
Dog.
And you said it earlier. Maybe their goals aren't like ours, which is fine, but I don't want to be just like
because I worked TSA in 2019, and we all had this luncheon during break. You know what I'm saying? Work always has those big luncheons in between when you're celebrating and stuff. There was somebody that worked TSA for 20 years as just a regular TSA officer and never moved up, never became a supervisor, never moved around in the government. He literally was just a TSA officer waking up 2 a.m. in the morning, working from 3:30 to 12 for 20 years. I couldn't do that with my
for
life.
what? Like for
you
what?
know what I'm saying? And it's just like, I don't know what his family situation is like. I don't know anything of that, but I'm not eating chicken for 20 years, dog. I'm not eating ice cream for 20 years either. You know what I'm saying? It's like after a certain point in time, you gotta go into the next thing, even if it's in the same realm. You know what I'm saying?
Like something else. Yeah. Like I said, we're built different.
Yeah, that part.
People are built
but we've also,
different.
I think it's very important to say, like, we are speaking from privilege because we have obtained certain successes that people don't.
True.
You know what I'm saying? So we have a certain outlook and abundance towards life that others don't necessarily get to experience. You know what I mean? So when we talk about life in a certain way, it's not relatable. Not everyone is open for Tech 9. You know what I'm saying? Not
Yeah.
everyone has worked with a Grammy Award winner.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? From Aurora, Colorado on top of that. That's not normal.
It's not.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
So
not
like,
that's not the norm.
that's not the norm. You know what I'm saying?
But I think on the flip side of that too, what's important to remember is not to sit here and we're not saying like, hey, we're great and we made it. Like,
No.
I know for a fact, as far as my marketing and my video production and my social media content, like, I know there are people out there that are 1,000 times better than me. But the thing that makes me want to be great is I study these people and I want to keep getting better every day.
Yeah, exactly.
And, you know, I watch tutorials on this, how to do this, or I go to certain classes because I know that that's the only way that I'm going to continue to get great, is knowing that I'm not there yet. Like, I'm getting closer, but I'm not where I want to be. And I know that every day I can get better. So I think that's the thing too, is be like, you know, I came a long way and we've came a long way from where we started, but to humble ourselves is be like, you still ain't the shit. No matter what, there's still someone
I'm
that's
still here.
There's still someone better than you out there.
Yeah.
So that's what you need to chase, rather than being satisfied where you're at.
Oh,
and
yeah,
I think
content. You know,
Content,
Yeah,
yeah.
1000%. Yeah.
Yeah, you're always going to be forever learning. If you're not, then again, you're not trying. I think like I'm 51 years old and I still reflect back 6 months ago. I'm like, dang, okay, I've learned that lesson. Don't do that again.
Yeah,
Or
exactly.
how can I duplicate that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
what worked
even
and
at
what
this,
didn't,
what
right?
didn't work and what didn't, and I'm
Yeah.
still learning. Like, you're never gonna be done. You know, you do have to strive, right? You have to get to that next level or what have you. But it's to me, it's not about being great. It's just I am humble, but I'm doing something I love and I'm passionate about.
Yeah.
And when my day's in, my legacy is done, like, at the end of the day, I did it my way.
Yeah, exactly.
You
You
know
went
what
out
I
on
mean?
your
It's a
own
good point.
terms.
You went
You know what I'm
out.
saying?
Going back a little bit to you said you were working as a janitor, building maintenance. 2 years into doing that studio, I had started to say, so 2014 was a rough year, like midway, like I was drinking a lot, just partying at the studio, about to lose my wife and kids financially, fucking things up, you know what I mean? Like, but had that chip on my shoulder, like, this ain't gonna fail.
Right.
But I wasn't looking at it clearly on how am I gonna make this not fail, you know what I mean?
Right.
And then the last straw was I got a DUI, like November for 2014. And yeah, my wife, that was like, it was a aha, like, moment that if that DUI I hadn't got that DUI, we probably wouldn't have made it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because that's how much I was fucking up.
Goddamn.
And so, you know, it was eye opening. And of course, you know, now I can't drink anymore because, you know, you have to UAs and everything else.
Yeah, of
so
course,
I gained some clarity.
Right.
Most definitely for that 6 to 9 months. Went to my father-in-law, who worked for King Soopers for 40 years. Like, talking about somebody, you know, he worked his way up to grocery, like, to the big guy. You know what I mean? Sorry, to the big guy. And I just went to him and talking about, like, pride, like, look, I need a job, you know. This Callywood thing is just not that I'm giving up on it, you know, by any means, but I need a job. And he's like, oh, I'll get you an interview down at the warehouse for King Soopers, and went down there, and it was for order selector. You know, here I am in my 40s. Well, was that 4 years ago? So late 30s, early 40s, and I'm going to be an order selector. Like, did not fucking care. So I just need money. I need money, right? And luckily, you know, to my experience, all the experience I've gained through just different jobs over the years, you know, regardless of chasing, like, doing the Callywood thing or the acting thing, I always worked. I always worked a full-time job. You know, I, like, got a family to support, you know, even when it's just me and my wife. So I picked up a lot of good skills, you know, and in any of those jobs, I worked my way up because I'm just a hard worker. I love to learn, you know what I mean? I can wear many hats. So I did pretty good at any of those jobs, but it's just wasn't my passion, like what I wanted to do long term, as we were just saying. You know what I mean? I did it because I had to do it until I can do what I want to do.
Yeah, exactly.
But long story short, I ended up getting the job as an order selector. And then even before I started that next week, I got a call. They said, you know, we liked how you interviewed, and we actually have this other position, and you fit quality-wise. And it was an inventory analyst. So it was more money, no backbreaking work.
It's awesome.
So I got to get in and do that. And I did that for 6 years. Why doing Callywood?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So until I started and took over Denver Open Media, that's what I was doing. So for 6 years, I did that. And I could have stayed there and worked my way up, I'm sure, probably to, like, warehouse manager or this or that and made, 6 figures. But I look at some of those people and they're just doing it to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Just
it's not many employees that are living with purpose.
They're living right. And I'm
There's
just
not
like, I'm
many.
sorry.
Yeah.
I can't do,
Yeah.
I can work here and pursue what I'm doing, my passion.
Right.
It's an even, I can juggle both of these.
Right.
But to just say, okay, I'm going to throw away this and I'm just going to go be, and again, I'm just built different that way.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think if you realize that if you're using that for a bridge to get to somewhere else, it's okay.
It's okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
It's always okay.
Everything is a stepping stone.
It's
Yeah.
always okay. But
Yeah.
if you're using it as just a way to be
Escape.
comfortable and escape, then that's where you fall into where you're probably not going to be that happy.
Which is so crazy to think about, because it's like, how is it an escape when it traps you? You know what I mean? That'd be my question about it.
Conundrum.
Yeah.
Is that what can I consider that a conundrum?
Yeah, conundrum. What a conundrum.
I'm
That
escaping,
part, man.
and the mind thought, like, I never thought I didn't come to that mindset like, fuck this, fuck Callywood, fuck radio. Everything.
Right,
There
exactly.
was never the point.
Right.
It was just like, I gotta fucking do something to
Yeah,
right the
exactly.
ship. Is my
exactly.
thought process.
Exactly. Like if the
but-
ship is leaking, like I'm not gonna let the ship just sink. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Ship just sink.
So swallow the pride and do what I gotta fucking do. Right. And then I was not ashamed of it. I posted stuff on that, especially during COVID. Everybody knew I worked there. People come drop off tickets and stuff.
Yeah.
So it was not that I was hiding that I'm working in a fucking warehouse. There was people there, what's his name? Joel June? Is it Joel June?
Is that? I think it's Joel June.
Joel
Yeah.
June, right?
I don't know if it's
He
Joel or
worked there.
Joel, but it was
I think
Joel.
it's Joel June, yeah.
Yeah.
But there was a few people that I met that worked there.
Yeah.
That were artists and same kind of thing. That's their day gig.
Yeah, exactly.
So it just comes back to that. You got to do what you got to do until you can do what you want.
Yeah, I mean,
and
it's
even
the-
in that sense, like, hey, I'm gonna go work 40 hours a week. I got to do that because I got to do what I got to do.
Yeah.
But on the weekends, I get to do what I want to do.
Yeah.
I get to go to shows. I get to go do interviews. I get to do this.
Yeah. Which is why
So it's not that when I say to do what you want to do, it doesn't mean like I'm gonna work until I have enough money that I can do what I want to do. Like,
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know, that
you have the
makes sense?
financial freedom to,
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
You're not stressing
I mean-
about the decisions that you make towards that.
But yeah, it
You know what
doesn't.
I mean?
It's just that's not the goal. I'm saying is like you might have to work here and do your rate,
Yeah.
and do your artistry or
Yeah,
this or that
exactly.
until you can do it 100% of the time.
Yeah.
But it's still getting to do what you want to do. I guess that's what I'm
Oh
trying
yeah,
to say.
1000%. And I think that's why Superman is one of my favorite examples of that, because the whole significance between Clark Kent and Superman. Clark Kent is entirely different from who Superman actually is. It's the same person, but when I'm around these civilized folks, with people that don't have the same powers as Superman, when I'm around humans, I'm going to be this certain persona to get me through the day. But when the occasion calls for it, I'm going to turn into Superman. And you are all going to see just how powerful Superman is. You know what I'm saying? And how that dynamic works. You know what I'm saying?
That's
I like
amazing.
that.
I love that.
For sure. Yeah, for sure,
what's
bro.
up.
Dropping
Yeah.
knowledge.
Yeah, let's get into a little bit more of the radio stuff real quick. Because I know both of y'all, like y'all both done self-curated radio, have done community radio, but you guys have been in the commercial radio environment. So what were the expectations of you guys from like your peers when you were working in commercial radio? Like, were they just like point a finger at you and like, you have to do this and do that? Or were they just like, they were just kind of chill and they just let you do your work? Or
I'd say there's a little bit of both.
both?
I remember one time there was a coworker that I worked with, and they were super cool with me for a long time, and we worked together well. And then one day, they weren't cool with me because they expected me to do something because who they were, and it was kind of shocking and mind blowing. But at the same time, I'm like, I don't care who you are or what position you are, you're still going to talk to me like a human, right?
Yeah, of
You're going
course,
to talk
yeah.
to me like a normal person, and just because you have a name or whatever it is, that I wasn't going to let that person talk to me. So But there are people in the industry that are super chill that I've worked with that I'm like, man, like I didn't think you'd be this cool. Like, you know, I was a little intimidated to talk to you, but we chilled and kicked it and had the same common interests. But I think it's just like any industry, right? You're gonna have people who feel like they're a little more entitled at times, and then you're gonna have people who understand that, see your value and see your worth and treat you that way.
Yeah.
And they're gonna have people that you bust your ass for that it don't matter. And I kind of, you know, felt that way at certain times in radio, and not even in radio, and even doing podcasting sometimes, like with people that I've interviewed or worked with, or like, you know, event places, like, so I think that's kind of how it was for me.
Well, for sure. What about you, Callie?
In the commercial landscape, yeah, definitely. Like any job, there's going to be people that are just assholes.
Yeah, like you can't escape that.
You can't escape that anywhere.
Yeah.
But I was lucky boss-wise. When I was at Clear Channel, like Kathy Walker, I mentioned, that ran the news department, toll traffic. That's how I got in. And then, again, networking. I met the production director.
Right, of course.
So I got to do production. He was pretty cool. Some of the hosts, like I did a lot on the AM side as a producer, technical producer. So I worked with like a lot of the KOA hosts and K-How, those kind of people. And most of them were pretty cool, but there's a couple, and I'm not going to put them on blast by any means.
Yeah, for sure.
Martino, but that were really, that were just assholes.
Big ops.
There was
Amplify.
that were just assholes. And you know, on the production side of things, it's my job to cut promos and imaging, right?
Right.
So I take some of their promo in this, or if I can get him hopefully into the recording, the production room, to get them to drop some liners for me and stuff, and you know, so there's just some people I clash with, but for the most part, definitely everybody's a cool vibe. I mean, radio, because it's fun. It is a fun place.
It's a fun
stressful.
job, right?
It is stressful, you know, because it's a time. Time is money.
Yeah,
you know, down to
exactly.
the second.
Yeah.
Right.
People who are assholes the most, though, I did brokered shows on the weekends. Brokered shows are those people that pay for shows.
Yeah.
So they're like a car guy, right?
Yeah.
Or attorney or something.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
You know what I mean? So there was people who thought they were God.
Yeah.
And just like,
Because they got their
put
own
them in
TV
their
show,
place because
yeah.
they got their own radio show. But it's like, you know, the fuck you're paying for this 2
Yeah,
hours.
yeah,
So
right.
It's like you weren't getting it off the strength of the love, or like, you know, you have a talent in this
you know you
motherfucker.
paid to be
You know
here,
you
right?
paid to be here, right?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
let me do what I do. I'm the motherfucking radio guy. You talk about
man.
cars. But interesting story. That's how I started Callywood Productions, was brokered shows.
Really?
These people, you know, like Lance sees. He's told us a lot of stories today about how he sees things and how he connects. Like talking about on LinkedIn and what have. I'm not going to give your secrets away.
Right.
But
You're a visionary,
all these
kid.
brokered shows, these guys are brilliant and passionate about what they know, right? If they know cars, if they know beer, if they are attorneys and answer questions, but they know dick about radio. So I'd slide on the side, be like, yo, man, I can help you with the radio show. I can make this sound real good. I can give you some imaging.
yes,
I can
Lord.
give you this. I can do this. I can hook you up. And I started doing a lot of production for brokered shows.
That's awesome.
And
That's
that first
hella
job
dope.
on radio, that Real Talk, that was a guy who had a show on K-How, and he was like a investor, like money guy. And I kept telling him, like, yeah, man, let me know. I'll help you out anytime. And so I started doing little things for him. And he came to me one day, he's like, yeah, we're going to start going nationwide and syndicating. So I'm going to call you when we're ready. And you're going to do production for all of my shows.
Right.
So, yeah, I waited like, yeah, whatever. You know, we see each other on Saturdays. And like 6-7 months later, he calls me and is like, yo, I'm ready to do this. And we put that show in 10 different cities, and I repurposed them and changed the numbers for those cities and did all the production and promo. And yeah, that's how Callywood Productions got started.
Man, that's
and
so
it's a full-time job. He gave me $50,000 a year to do
I
it.
love it. I love it, man. It's finding, it's thinking outside the box,
Thinking
right? And
outside the
finding
box, yeah.
different ways to make things happen.
Yeah, exactly.
And just a quick, and this is just like a hustle story, right?
Yeah,
for
you
people
good.
out there who are always struggling with money and don't, and like, oh, I only got to make money this way. You know, one of the ways that I thought outside the box to make money when I was at Locksmith is I had this van, right? So I would drive around and I'd have this van to go to different places to fix doors and stuff. Well, in between jobs, what I would do is I would jump on Craigslist or I'd jump on Facebook and I'd go to the free section. And I'd go to the free section in town and I'd find a free couch, free table, free this.
Wow.
As soon as I would see that, I'd bolt over and use the company whip, pick up a couch, pick up a fucking a table, whatever it was, a chair.
Right.
cruise over to my crib, drop it off, take a picture, throw that shit back on Let Go and whatever those are,
Some money.
and started making some extra dough.
Yeah, some
by
flipping.
that.
Yeah, you flipping it. Yeah.
But again, it was thinking outside of the box, like because that wasn't just cutting it my job. It wasn't like I'm making money and I'm like I need to make extra gas money
Just
to get to
makes
Denver.
money. Yeah.
I need to make extra gas money to get back to Denver this weekend or stay in Denver, whatever it is.
right.
But again, it's like just finding a way.
Yeah,
And not just being like, well, I can't make it up there. Like I paid my paycheck. Like I'm like,
yeah.
Side hustle.
Most people's problem is we talk about creativity and art, but like as far as like, you know, creating opportunity, because part of being a creative is creating opportunity. That's what being a creative is
which
about.
you did, created opportunity.
You created
off of those
opportunity.
guys.
You created opportunity. I've created opportunity before. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? And certain things like, you know, we've had our own podcast before. You know what I'm saying? Like I've never been on that type of setting, but I wanted to try it. And because of that, certain things started, you know, coming together, doing a clothing brand and, you know, all these other things. It's like having the foresight to see like this is a possibility for money or this is a possibility for opportunity and to see that through. Like for as long as you have that, you'll never go broke. You'll never be standing still. You know what I'm saying?
True,
like you'll
true,
always have
true.
motion when it comes to that.
If you have that creativity, you know what I mean?
And
You
it's
can't
not
just
in everybody.
go-
It
yeah,
It
it's
isn't
not
in
in-
everybody.
It isn't
Yeah,
in
it's not in
everybody.
Some
everybody.
people will panic and say, "Shit, I'm not making the money, and I don't know what I'm gonna do." Like,
And a bow out.
yeah,
But you know they're trying to. You can't mimic or emulate. You know you gotta, like you said, have your own lane. Whether you're an artist, right, creative, marketing,
Right.
radio. You've what sets you apart. I tell this story a lot. You guys might have heard it, but in my acting days, one of the most vulnerable things is when you walk into a casting director's waiting room. And there's 20 other guys sitting there. They look like you. They sound like you. You know what I mean? Like
That's like 20
there's-
Calvins in a room, dog.
Yeah, dude. Like, you know, because they're for a specific spot. We want somebody that's
Yeah.
5'5" to 5'6", light skinned.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And,
Right.
This and that, whatever. So you walk in and you look around and just people just like you, right?
Right.
Like shit. So what you think is like, okay, what do I got to do to set myself apart?
Right.
What do I got to do in the first 30 seconds that's going to set myself apart?
Yeah.
You guys ever remember Urkel? Remember
Yeah.
Jaleel
Yeah,
White?
yeah.
You guys ever hear his story? It's
I
like
think
he's
so.
same kind of thing. He's in this room and he's sitting there and getting ready to read for this part, and he's like, "What am I gonna do to set myself apart from everybody else?" And that's where Urkel came from. He went in there and just switched it up.
He did the
didn't
voice.
do it normal. He
Was
did
it
the voice.
Yeah,
he did the
okay. That
voice
makes a
and
lot of sense.
went meek, and they loved it.
That
as
is
opposed to just
fucking
going
awesome.
there
Fucking
and
awesome,
because you know the
dog.
script doesn't say go in there and be meek in a high pitched voice. It doesn't say
Right.
that.
Exactly,
It gives
yeah.
you a script and it gives you like your side notes. Like, okay, you walk into a room, boom, you look across the room, you give an evil eye or something like, you know what I mean? That's all you
Yeah.
get. That's all you get. There's a
Yeah.
little direction.
Right.
It doesn't tell you who you're going to be, how you're going to be. Are you going to be boisterous? You're going to be that. You got to figure that out.
Yeah.
You gotta figure that
And the uniqueness in that is that he brought himself
He
to
brought
the part.
himself to the
You know
part.
what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what you got to do in anything you do creative wise,
Yeah.
right?
Don't be a replica, you know.
Don't
what
be
I'm
real.
saying?
Yeah, you replicate.
Yeah, don't be a
Yeah.
doppelganger, you know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, both of you guys with Callywood and Turned Up TV, you guys have had hundreds, if not thousands of artists come through your platform and played their music and interviewed them and do so many different things with these artists. Obviously that gets tedious. That gets, you know what I'm saying? Obviously that wears you down. So I've always wanted to know, explain the tolerance and patience it takes to interview and play the music of hundreds of thousands of artists each week, every day. Like, what is that like?
You know what goes through my mind a lot of the time?
Hmm.
Fuck your couch.
fuck your song.
Fuck your song. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Side note, I started the Callywood radio side of things because I was working in commercial radio and I didn't think they showed enough love to the local music scene.
Yeah, and that's
To the
important to
indie
point out.
scene.
Yeah.
So that's where Callywood, I remember 2010, I already started the Callywood Productions. I was doing like radio stuff,
Right,
like
yeah,
radio
yeah.
imaging and that kind of
Yeah,
stuff. So
yeah.
Callywood Productions was the first entity. 2012, Callywood Radio came along, and after pitching the idea of a locals only show on many stations to many program directors that weren't filling it, that's where Callywood Radio was born. So 2012, May of 2012, they're coming into 12th year. Yeah, 12th year next month.
Damn, that's fire.
That's awesome.
But for me, the one thing I still love is hearing new music from somebody I've never heard before.
Right.
Like getting new music. I love hearing, my Denver's Finest and my Usual Suspects when they drop new fire, but that's something cool. Like when I find somebody that I haven't heard of, met, don't know anything about, and hearing just something like, what is this? This is awesome. This is cool, man.
Yeah. It's like a new toy, right?
Yeah. So that part is one of the things that keeps me going, especially for the New Music Mondays.
Mm-hmm.
But the tedious part and all that is it's taxing. It's taxing to where like if people don't send me the music in the right format and labeled the right way, it's going right back to them.
Of course.
It's bouncing right back to them.
Yeah.
I've got 60, 70 songs sitting in pipeline to review, and as I take a first pass through them, I look at how it's attached, right? Is it an MP3?
Yes.
Is it labeled song name / artist title?
Right.
And if it's not, then I send it back. I said, hey, here's what I need. And they're like, I just attached it. No, you didn't. You sent me something that says final mix. What the fuck is that?
That's a pet peeve.
Yeah. And it's funny. I was talking to Adrian. Shout out Adrian and Fan Bam. Last night he was singing an artist to me, and I told him that. And I was like, yeah, just make sure they're labeled the right way. It just helps me out. But not only that, if they have it labeled as a final mix or something like that, and they just change it right there, like people don't really understand how going into the properties, you know what I mean? Like how to really create an MP3.
Yeah.
When you create an MP3 and it's named something, right? That's what it is in the properties. Whenever you bounce it, I still say bounce.
Oh no, I use it too.
I still use
bounce.
that bounce.
Yeah.
I still say bounce.
No.
When you bounce it, whatever you named it, that's what it's at.
Right.
Just changing it up front, like, right clicking or whatever and changing the name right there doesn't do shit. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So when I go drop it into any of these record box automation system, anything, guess what happens? What does it show again? What does it pop up as?
Untitled
or final mix. Any of that. So biggest pet peeve is right there. And I used to, because I wanted the music for a long time. You know what I mean? I would go as far sometimes, like when I first started it on the FM side, like clean up people's music because I just wanted it so bad. I thought it was a great song. Like when I first started it on the FM in 2018. But now, not that I'm that big, but yeah, we get people to submit artists, so I don't have to do that anymore.
Right.
But when I first started, I would take people's and I would clean it.
You gotta kind of take what you can get.
When you start now. So for like 2018, 2019, I did that a lot for people. I was very nice about it.
Right.
But nowadays, no.
We standing on business.
I love to hear new music, but I hate people sending me new music, but it's not up to par. And what I mean is like everything, production, title, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll tell people this, like it has been thousands of songs. I'm straightforward, like, yo, dog, this just ain't good enough quality. Whether it's production, whether it's just like
the mixing, the
mixing, or just
not gonna
or you
work.
saw, like we said earlier, some people
trash boy.
Some people just like,
I just can't.
I haven't used this word in a long time, but
can't place it.
I haven't used this word in a long time, but dude, you are booty.
Yes, man.
No, I'm sorry, that's a lot to answer.
No, you good. You answered everything correctly.
Okay,
bro. Like I needed all of that info.
Woo, that's funny.
Yeah, Lance. What about you? Explain kind of like the tolerance and patience that you had to put forth doing Turned Up TV, because you were doing the same thing, like interviews twice a day basically.
That's
and then doing a radio show, online radio show, and streaming it via Facebook video and stuff like that. Tell me what kind of your tolerance.
I think like Calvin said, at first it was take what you can get.
Mm-hmm.
Like we would get artists that music sound terrible or they were just a garbage song, but I'm like, I know they're gonna bring people to listen, and this might alienate some of my audience, but they're bringing people in. But then it got to the point where it's like, this Turns Up TV. Like we've got artists that are banging. Like we got people, we got a name, we got a buzz. But you're right.
We got a level to uphold to. Now.
Yeah,
exactly. It's a standard. It's a
standard. Thank you.
Thank
you. That's what I'm trying to say.
But then it got to where you're right. Like there was a lot of burnout and a lot of times where like, man, I don't want to do this interview today. Or but what I started focusing on sharpening my craft on other things. Right, like I got to the point where like I can interview someone and talk to them, really well for a while. But then it's like, okay, well now how can I make this a really good stream? Right. So then we started streaming and getting people live. Right. Okay. Now we start doing that. Okay. Well, now how can I take this content and make micro content for social media off these interviews?
Right.
So then I started, that's what kind of kept me interested and kept me focused, and the music and the artists were great to talk to, but it was the smaller things that I'm like, okay, how can I make this bigger and make this expand more while getting better at other things like content creation, like
Right.
live streams, like even things afterwards, like having people sign the wall and getting content of them signing the wall. Like
that was
important.
dope. Dude, you were the first person that ever done that in one of my interviews, bro.
That
I
was
always
cool.
always look forward to going to Turn Up TV to do that, actually.
Yeah, just to sign the
Yeah,
media
sign the
wall.
wall. You know what I'm saying? I feel like,
That's what's up.
showing our age, but I felt like I was in Rap City, the basement. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like,
But even after that, being like, okay, now we got to get a social media clip of them holding the Turned Up TV sign saying, shout out Turned Up TV, boom, boom, boom. And then it turned into, now we got to get a picture with the artist to post this. Like, so it came to a lot of different things that I was like, had to keep reinventing to make it. Because if I sat there and I just interviewed an artist and that's all it was for 3 or 4 years that we were doing it, I definitely would have been bored. I definitely would have burnt out. And I wouldn't have gave the artist the respect and the not the respect. I would say the quality of interview that they deserved,
That they
right? I
deserve.
would have been
Right,
bored. I would have
exactly.
sat there and we would have asked the questions like we talk, where are you from?
Right.
What music you listen to? Like, who's your biggest
exactly.
inspiration? If you could make one song with anybody, who would it be? Dead or alive?
Yo, you know what I appreciated about our first interview? As you know too, like I had just entered sobriety, and you saw that on my social media,
Mm-hmm.
and you asked me about what made me go into the sobriety aspect, and you were one of the first people to actually ask me about that type of stuff, because usually people are just like, you know how
Wanna
rappers
stay
are, they like,
clear,
does the beat come
yeah.
first or do the
Does the
words
word
come
come
first? You know what I mean? Like that's the most asked question for a rapper
Yeah.
at any point. But like the fact that you took time to at least just look at it, because you didn't have like a prompt or anything.
No.
But you saw like my social media,
Yeah.
and you saw that, and you were like, okay, like this is something he's going through. Let me ask him about that. And
Well,
I've
I thi-
always appreciated that.
I think that comes back to not wanting to do just the same interviews like everyone else. I'm like, what
Yeah.
can I ask these guys that are a little different? So studying their social media a little bit, understanding their lives, what they're going through, where they came from, and I'm like, that's gonna make this interview stand out compared to the next 3 guys he talks to
Right,
that are gonna
exactly, yeah.
ask him what
Yeah.
comes first, the beat or the whatever.
words. Bro,
comes
as a
first?
rapper, that is such a fucking pet peeve, dog. It was like,
Oh yeah, I asked that question a lot.
why?
I like it. I
All
like
the
it.
fucking
I like it.
time, bro. And it's like, nah, I didn't think of any of it. Nothing came to mind, bro. Nothing came to mind. Nah, but I really appreciate those answers, because I'm just like, because the way that I see it, to make 100 people happy, you have to disappoint anywhere from 50 to 300 people. So that's 100 people out of 150,
Mhm.
100 people out of 200. You know what I'm saying? And like, I know for you guys working in the field that y'all are, y'all not gonna make everybody happy.
No.
You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, they're not making you happy either. So naturally, there are intolerances
Mhm.
that arise, and there's conflict resolution. You got to navigate controversy through that and still put on a good show. You know what I'm saying? So I've always wondered, in the fourth wall realm, like how you guys were handling that. Because I'm pulling, like, as Riaga the artist, I'm pulling up and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm having fun with bro today.
Yeah.
I never think about y'all's mental health with the 100 other artists that pulled up
Right?
before me, dog.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you're having a bad day. You know what I'm saying? You're so locked in on the interview, and, you're so focused on supporting me that, like, I don't know what goes into, making me happy in that sense. So I wanted to highlight that. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause that's super important.
That
Because,
is.
It is,
I love
it
that
is,
you
it is.
asked that.
And I
Yeah,
think
that's really
I don't
cool.
think people really take that into account. Is there's one of us.
Yes.
There's 200 of you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Well, in your case,
the
500.
one big pet peeve is, yo, did you listen to my music? Yo, did you listen to my music?
Yeah.
You just sent it to me 2 days ago.
Yeah. And there was 400 people before you.
Yeah, I'm
You know
like,
what
and
I'm saying?
I'm honest. I'm like, yo, man, I got about 40 songs in the pipeline. I'll let you know. And I tell people that when, like, in the first reply email, like, thank you for submitting your music. We'll definitely contact you and let you know, just some kind of response, right?
Yeah.
But I don't think that's taken into account enough. You as an artist, you've got your hands in many pots, especially somebody like you, right? Your brand, your team,
Yeah.
you do a lot, right?
Yeah, that
So
part.
it keeps you busy.
Right.
But for me, running as Lance can attest, you're doing a lot by yourself, right? You're running everything at the stream and this and that. And then, like, I have my partners in crime, Cons and Nikki, shout out to them real quick, to help. We all have our little things that we do. Nikki's the one that does like the stories and the Instagram, the social media stuff. Cons, of course, is music. And then I'm doing like the feeds and I do all the research for the artist.
And y'all were doing that alone at one point, bro. Everything that you're talking about, like, you had to do that all by yourself. You had to do that all by yourself, bro.
Yeah.
Like,
it's a lot to take into.
The whole dynamic, bro.
So just think about researching one artist. Now you've got, lined up, like we're booked through June, right? So I try to do research a week or two out and what have you, but listening to music and it's still taxing even with three of us. So I think that's probably the biggest thing is people need to take into account that regardless of if it's a team or one person that, we're dealing with a lot of different artists. You ain't the only motherfucker we're talking to right now. Yeah, yes, you're special for that time you're in. We try to focus on you.
Yeah, the downside of an artist is that it's a broke diva complex, dog. It's just like it's a broke diva complex, bro. Like, it's just like, bro, you're not even the artist that you think you are. And you're sitting here talking to Callywood and Mr. Turned Up TV like they're just fucking trash. They don't have to fuck with you. You know what I'm saying? They reached out to y'all. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think artists understand that. Like, you can't reach out to somebody and then be mad about, their schedule being filled up. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, that's backwards. How'd that work? You feel me?
And it happens. And I mean,
it does. It does.
And I definitely want to give a shout out to DJ Coast because, I mean,
shout out Coast.
That was another thing that helped me, stay creative is bringing in a co-host. And obviously him being a DJ was huge because he just took over the music aspect, which is nice for me because I didn't have to worry about it as much. But he's great at interviewing as well. He's really good at answering questions, and he really brought a really
he deserves a spot on the radio.
Yeah,
he definitely 100% deserves a spot.
Like he could have been on Flow 107.1.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like with
DJ,
1,000%.
And I think it's time.
I think it's been time. I don't know why, radio out there is, I don't know, dude. I mean, I've said it before. He's made enough buzz. He has enough credibility with artists in the city that he should.
1,000%.
And, shout out to all the DJs out there that are amazing that have been doing their thing for a while. But, DJ Coast definitely deserves a spot to be able to have a spot on FM radio, to be able to spend some good hip hop. Yeah. And, it was great because me and him got to connect recently because I started doing the marketing for the new arena football team, Colorado Spartans. And they're like, we need a DJ. Do you know one? And I'm like, yeah. Call Coast up. I'm like,
Coast is usually the first person I think of.
Yeah, I'm like, hey, honestly, these guys need a DJ. You got to be there. Yeah. And last game, Coast wasn't able to be there just to some family stuff that he had going on. Yeah. And I told him, I'm like, dude, the game was we beat a team that we lost to 2 weeks ago. We beat their ass this game. You would think the crowd would have been hype but I was like, bro, the crowd was dead because you weren't there. And dead ass, like even the players, like, dude, I can't vibe. They brought some other DJ in and they're like, I can't vibe to this. And I told him, I was like, I don't want to make you feel bad about not being there. I was like, but I want to make you feel good again, I guess, because you weren't there. And if you were there, like that crowd would have been over the top. And we were beating this team's ass. So I thought they would be. There was a lot of low energy in that building because Coast wasn't there providing what he provides.
Good DJ sets the tone. Coast knows how to do it.
Yeah, because Coast lives or die by that. He'll tell you in a heartbeat, just like, yo,
that's what he does.
Start the party. It's not the MC. It's not the promoter. It's not
the artist.
It's not the artist. The DJ starts the party, dog. When he press play, we know how the night gonna be. Whatever Coast plays first, we know what the night gonna be.
Be like, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And he does that in every setting.
Every setting.
Like Riaga, you said, he's the first one you think of. He's the first one that I put out there. Like people contact me and say, "Hey, I need a DJ for our wedding." Okay, here's Coast's number.
Yeah, because he's reliable. It's rare that he says no.
Yeah,
it's very rare that he says no.
No,
he DJ'd my daughter's Sweet 16,
and it was that thing was thanging. What is it?
He did my wife's cousin, and we were there dancing. And he had to shout me out. He's like, "Boy, you better sit down before you hurt yourself." Like, all right, Coast, you clowning. All right, Coast.
Right.
Yo, and I could just hear Coast say that.
That's Coast.
Yeah,
that is Coast. But no, I mean, you are 100% right. He should be on mainstream radio and
yeah,
spot.
it's time, and I think
we need a whole another 2 hours for me to
that's
tell
a
you
separate episode.
what's wrong with radio.
Yeah, separate episode. We
you
got a
on-
few questions left.
feel you on that, bro.
We got a few questions.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I got you. But I wanna go back into the you guys receive artists every single day. Do you guys usually have an idea about which artists will quote unquote make it and who won't? Like, do you usually have an idea about which songs are about to blow, or are you guys kind of just like impartial and just like you're just here for the service for artists?
That's a good question.
That is a really good question.
Yeah.
Go. You want to start? I got an answer.
I mean, yeah, go ahead.
It's
Go ahead.
pressure,
No,
right?
you take it. Let me think about this a little bit.
I like to dance. If people don't know,
If you seen Uncle Calvin at the function, dog,
yeah,
let a couple shots come in. Uncle Calvin come out, boy.
if it's something that gets me moving, you know what I mean, and like lyrically beat, just the vibe of it. I already know what it's gonna do. I know what it's gonna do. You know what I mean?
Word.
And I'm talking any type of song and genre.
Right.
Like I just feel it in my bones.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's another story too. Is I used to do a lot of dancing. Shout out my MTV days, Cisco Shakedown back in the LA days, club dance, b-boy in the 80s. But yeah, I mean, when I feel it, when I can feel it, like it just speaks to me in a different way than just like lyrically, like, okay, them bars or something. But I just mean like feel it. Like it's just got me. It's got me scrunchy face. It's got me bobbing my head. It's got me just want to get up and dance. I'm like, this is a track right here. And it could be R&B, it could be rock, it could be rockabilly.
Yeah,
it could be
but you know
country.
when a hit is hit.
Oh, yep.
You know what
when
I mean?
I'm like,
Yeah.
Yep. And it's one of those things, almost like the casting director thing, kind of like in that first 15 to 20 seconds, like listening to it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's just me.
Yeah, that part. Yeah. What about you, Lance? You know when something's a hit, when, on the turn to TV scale?
I know when it's a hit, but I know how long it's going to last or if it's going to be successful.
And
based on that
is so important, dog.
And based on that is a lot based on the artist and who they are as a person. Because I've had a lot of artists come through with amazing music, and I'm like, okay, man, like, what's your Instagram? I don't got Instagram. What's your I don't have Facebook. Or what do you do for marketing? I don't do anything. Or, but, are you on Spotify? I'm not even. You can't find me on Apple Music. And I'm like, you're not.
And they've been doing it a minute.
Yeah.
It's not like they're
how
new.
is the music out there?
Right.
It'd be my question. Like, how did like they just sent you the song and then just like they just had it in their email the entire time? They ain't even get like DistroKid or TuneCore. That's so weird,
bro. One artist came through, and I'm not even lying. They had brought like, I'm not even lying, like 20 people to the studio, like aunts, uncles, like, and the song was lit, and like they were in there lit. But then we asked them, we're like, okay, how can people stream your music? They're like, well, we got mixtapes. I'm all
just old school, baby.
And I'm like,
old school.
That's that record scratch, right?
You can find me out the trunk of my car on Fifth.
Yeah, I'm like,
Fifth and Federal
bro,
tomorrow.
You know what
I'm like, it ain't gonna work.
Mississippi and Saberlast.
Yeah. But I'm like, it's not gonna work. Like, so people can't stream this song if they want to stream it because you haven't figured out to put yourself. What is it, TuneCore or whatever?
TuneCore, DistroKid,
that DistroKid that puts you everywhere.
Masters,
like,
what I mean, like they have services.
So I knew that's like a great example. Is I'm like, so they can't stream you, they can't find you on social. How the fuck do they listen to you? Like, they got to meet up with you at 7-Eleven to pick up a mixtape?
Yeah, I think that's only beneficial because Griselda, the rap group with Benny the Butcher, Conway and all them, they were talking about how they still slang mixtapes. They still slang albums or whatnot. $10 a CD. But this is after they have already shown their music on streaming. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, yeah, we can go back to the basics with, trapping out the trunk and whatnot. But if they haven't built that online presence, then how are people going to know about it? Because nowadays, Twitter is the newspaper. Instagram is the magazine. You know what I'm saying? Facebook is kind of like that community bulletin board. You know what I mean? Like, how are people going to tap into something that they don't know about? Like, they just pulled up on Turned Up TV and essentially they're relying on you
to promote it for them.
And then the stream is probably, I mean, you've like crazy amount of followers on Turned Up TV, right? But at the same time, like, there's only so much Turned Up TV can give to an artist. Like, when we were doing interviews, we would have 30, 50 people tapping in but that's like my fan base with your fan base coming together. when you're just an unknown entity and you're relying on Turned Up TV, that could be anywhere from like 5 to 20 people at that point. You know what I'm saying? Because the whole point, like people go based off of like the buzz. You know what I'm saying? So if nobody knows you and you know,
tuning in.
And you ain't tuning in, and like there's no reception, the Turned Up TV crowd ain't gonna go to that. They're just gonna look at me like, oh, he's a nobody.
Yeah.
And sure enough, that's what happens, right?
It does. It does. Yeah. I can see it, you know, like, thank you for digital analytics to see.
I know, right?
You know what I mean?
And I do want to talk about, we can get to it later, but I do want to, because I know people are going to watch this and be like, the fuck, like, I haven't heard Turned Up TV like in 2 or 3 years. So
let's get to it. Let's get to it. Like, what happened with Turned Up TV?
So what happened with Turned Up TV, man, is I mean, we talked about it a little bit earlier, is I just think it's just time just to move on. Like, we were doing it, we were doing interviews, it was fun, it was great, but it was at the point where me and Coast both realized, like, Coast was getting a lot of opportunities to do events and do, you know, DJ other places. And for myself, you know, my marketing started taking off. And I think the biggest thing too is my family. You know, like I got in a relationship. You know, she had 3 kids, I had my daughter. Then we blended our family, and then, you know, we've been together almost 3 years now. But it was at the point where I was like, dude, I can't be in Denver Monday through Friday from 5 to 9 o'clock at night and try to have a family life. I can't go on Thursday night and host shows or Saturday night and host open mics. So, it was a point where it was like, you know, me and Coast seen bigger opportunities outside of Turned Up TV. And it's because the funny thing is this is the first time anyone's hearing it. We have never till this day, till right now, came out and told people like, thank you guys, we appreciate you, Turned Up TV is done, we're moving on. It kind of was just like, what the fuck happened? And a lot of people were like, did you Coast get into it? Like, and it wasn't nothing like that. I mean, we worked together to this day. It was just, we just didn't take the time because we were so focused on everything else that was moving that we just didn't take the time to do it. And I always felt like I wanted to give that to people and tell them, thank you guys, because I really, really, really appreciate every artist and every person that ever listened and vibed with us or came to a show, because it really did mean a lot for you guys to believe in something that, and you know, just like Callywood, like something that you come up with from your own brain, your heart, and for people to buy into it and for people to go to our shows and know that Turned Up TV was a part of the community of hip hop or music here in Colorado, and especially coming from Greeley, where people would not give us respect because they're like, you don't know what's going on in the city. It meant a lot, and it changed my life forever, for the relationships I made, to the people I was able to talk to. And that's what happened, is I think we just got to the point where it's like, you know, I think it's time for us just to move on. And we just never gave a proper closure or explanation of what happened. So that's why I wanted to touch on it, because I didn't want people to be watching this and being like, what are you talking about? Like, you interview, like, I haven't seen you on the scene or talked about Turned Up TV in like 2 or 3 years. I mean, it's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a
2021-ish. I mean,
I was wondering myself. Yeah, it really has.
Yeah. I mean, we went through COVID together, and then a little bit after COVID, it was done. So, but that's what happened. And again, I from the bottom of my heart, I appreciate everybody that's been on the show, that shared it, liked it, the relationships that it led to us doing work together, to me being able to meet you and everyone else. So that was
you
it.
met family, dog. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I love my family.
Especially being not very COVID friendly and throwing a big ass park party right in the middle of it.
Yo,
100 and some
that was
people.
one of the most lit time. Like
We did, right?
you know,
Sorry,
bro.
man. What I'm talking about? I mean, we
all
try
crazy.
to
Yeah.
keep to the 6 feet apart. Like, hey, we got plenty of room. We got a big ass park.
It's a park,
right?
goddammit.
As I'm passing a bottle of Jack around,
To
swigging off of
everybody,
it.
right?
God, we were terrible.
Everybody was all
Uncle
masked
Calvin was
up.
lady,
Terrible,
boy.
terrible,
It
man.
was lady boy, but
no,
it's so crazy.
Good
bro.
times though.
It was
Good times.
fun.
What I often do is I listen back to the Latino Podcast Masters ever so often. And one of the ones that's on my laptop is was talking about the city park thing.
Yeah.
And we were just talking about, you know, how much we appreciated you and, you know, like both of y'all coming together to do something for the city. It was just like, man, Lance has done some dope shit. You know what I'm saying? And like, you're Turned Up TV forever, bro.
And
You know
and
what
it's
I'm
funny
saying?
because I know my wife's gonna watch this, and I know my kids. I'll share this with them. It's funny because I met them after all this was dying down. So they didn't like when I talk about like being on radio or having
like they don't even believe
they're
you?
like
Oh.
they don't take it as serious. Like they don't think like we had that big of a impact. I mean, and it's nothing
I got
to
film for y'all. I got film for y'all.
But it's funny. I'm excited for them to like hear this because of for them to really understand the impact that we had on the music scene here down here. So that's just kind of cool. I'm excited for them to hear the story and that.
Yeah.
Music scene, the artist. I mean, many first interviews I know that you've given to people. You know, you know what I'm saying.
And what I love about you is like I talked about is your consistency. How you're still going, right? Like you could have got to a point where like, hey, I'm doing something different, which you're not. Another shout out I want to give out to is Mile High Minute because they've been doing it for a while and they've taken their level to the next game. Even though I do gotta say, I don't know why that my boy Riaga or my boy Tucson don't ever make that list. Like,
you know me, bro.
I just gotta be real.
Hold on.
I love Mile High Minute. Like I love
shots fired.
I don't ever.
No, it's not no shots fired.
Hold on. I appreciate you
trying
guys.
to start something.
I appreciate you guys, but I've been vocal about this before. I don't ever want to be on those lists.
Yeah,
because
people get butthurt.
Yo, so when Coast made that performers list, the top 25 performers list, I was like, I think one year I was number 3, the next year I was number 2. Bro, the amount of fucking hate that I just got from people just from being on that list,
people just
was fucking crazy, bro. And it's like, you know, where people were going with it, all the sub tweets, all the sub statuses, you know what I'm saying? I'm just like, I don't want to be a part of this.
I get that.
You know what I'm saying?
I just gotta stand up for my boy.
that.
But no, I really respect Mile High Minute because I see what they've taken their level, where he started, and it's a huge platform for people to go get news. But then same thing with you, man. Like I said, you could have got to the point where it was like, hey, you know, maybe I want to do something different. And people rely on you. Like people really rely on you to get their music out, for you to give them interviews. Like I said, that was so cool that the Colorado Spartans dancers were able to go get on your show and spread the voice of what they're doing because you gave them that opportunity.
I was listening to that episode and like, you know, Coast was kidding, not kidding, and saying, yo, Callywood's the only one that can premiere music now. You know what I'm saying? Like it was kidding. It was kidding, not kidding.
Kidding, not kidding.
You know what I'm saying? Because like, I mean, I know about the Denver Open Media situation a little bit. You know, we've talked in private. Yeah. Like you're one of the few outlets that can actually get spin on community radio now. You know what I'm saying? Whereas, you know, last year, 2022 even, that was a different story. Right. You know what I mean? So like the fact that, you know, you're still consistent, you're still here, and you're able to give a voice to the people, that says a lot, bro.
It means a lot, dude. I mean,
so
again, and that's what
we try.
Yeah,
we try, and it's the reason I'm still here. I was gonna bow out after 10 years. It was 10 years and done. So by my 50th, I was gonna. But I'd built up so much steam. I was like having so much fun. I was like, I'm gonna keep rocking with it.
For sure.
But you know, that was always my plan. It was like, regardless of win, lose, or draw. After 10 years, I was gonna be done.
Word.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, man.
I think you're stronger than ever, bro.
I
really think you're doing your thing.
I think you can go another 10, goddamn it.
You're doing it real nice, bro. And again, I mean, you doing your thing, bro.
Yeah, I'm gonna get these last couple questions in real quick.
I thought we had to ask you a question. No, we get that. Didn't he say that?
No. I did, but I just want to get these last couple.
Okay. Yeah, we'll get them in quick.
We'll make it quick.
We got countdown.
Yeah. What does Turned Up TV mean to you?
It means just perseverance and just grind. Again, it means starting in a basement, in a laundry room, recording on a iPod, and taking it to something that I would have never guessed would have ever been what it was. Relationships with friends, family, getting me to a different stage of my career, and just belief. That's what it believes is. I believed in that thing 1,000% from when I used to say the only person that used to listen to my show was my mom, to have in the community, and I'll leave it at that. That's what it means to me.
Now, where does Callywood Radio go from here?
Ooh, man. Yeah. As always, I want to keep it evolving. And as you mentioned earlier, you watch videos of people that, right? Because there's always people doing it better than we are.
Right.
I pride myself on doing things differently, but maybe not better. Yeah. So I've been researching a lot. Method to My Madness. If you guys listen to New Music Mondays, I've been playing a little more like national, like having artists from other cities
Right.
and doing and playing that, because there's only so much you can do. I mean, Box State is always going to be number one, right?
Right.
But to grow, what do you got to do as an artist, right? Tour as anything, right? You
Right,
want to
right.
grow, so.
Right.
That's the next step. That's the next step of Callywood Radio is
Right.
we've opened up the platform. We have like 10 shows in the pipeline because I'm getting older and, you know, I don't want to have to do everything myself.
Yeah, that's
So-
If anything, you need more employees, goddammit.
Yeah,
you're at that point, dog.
exactly.
Yeah.
But no, more shows, more content, but not me having to put it all in there. So
Word for sure. And we can go over a little bit, don't worry.
Oh, okay,
Not,
we got time.
we're not too
Not
much,
too much,
but,
but-
yeah, but we can go over just
But
a
yeah,
little
there is an evolution in the works, and it's just expanding the platform. I mean, it's always been that, you know, it's worldwide because it's internet. Of course, it can be.
Right,
We
right.
have artists from everywhere, but I want content from other places.
Word.
Is what I'm working on.
This is leads to a very important question that I have here. Out of 100 artists, because you guys have seen everything, I feel. You know what I'm saying? Genre-wise, you know what I'm saying? Different cultures, you know what I'm saying? Every form of hip-hop, R&B, like, it's been there, right? Out of 100 artists, how many of them are truly professional?
Oh,
Out of 100,
Yeah, let's just like 100 random artists. Like, just pick 100 artists.
Mm.
How many out of 100 are usually professional?
I'd say 10%. So we'll say 10.
yeah,
10
I was
artists.
gonna say 10. Yeah, I was
10.
literally gonna say.
But
maybe
when
10.
I say professional, I mean has everything on point.
Right.
Like we just discussed, like the different platforms, right? How to put your music, EPKs, you know, showing up on
Yeah,
time for
exactly.
your interview,
yeah,
being able to interview.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot that goes into it. It's not just. And as you said earlier, Lance, doing the research on them on their social media, you know, how are they putting things out there? I mean, there's somebody, shout out to like Six. Six has got the game
Word.
down.
OG shit, yeah.
He comes in, he's got, like you said, CDs, he's got QR codes, he's got flash drives, he's got everything, you know, EPK, everything you need to know. I mean, that's to me is professionalism. Knows what he wants to talk about, can hold a conversation.
Mhm.
That's Riaga.
Word.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Right?
two solid
We've all,
lines.
Yeah.
we've
Yeah.
we've interviewed you. I mean, on point with everything,
Right.
game wise. That's professionalism to me. It's not just about the music,
Word.
right? Because we've said it before. This is, as an artist, you are 90% business, 10% music. Is what you need to be,
Yeah, 1000%.
right?
yeah, I
yeah.
agree.
What about you,
So-
Lance? Like, I mean, obviously 10, but like, the professionalism in those 10, like, how many are actually making a living off of their music out of those 10 artists?
Oh man, I would have to say maybe like 2 or 3.
2 or
I was
3?
gonna say too.
Yeah,
Mm.
like for real. Like I love.
And how would you know? Like, what are some signs that show that they're making a living? Like, do they flat out just tell you, or like, is there like a certain nuance to the conversation?
I mean,
Is it a
yeah.
team like,
You've told me. You've told me.
yeah, for sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
You know, I see just the advancement in what they're doing, and I can see that they're taking their game to a new level with merchandise, with marketing, with different cities, with different audience, with different genres. Like I can see that, and I can tell that is definitely helping them get to a new level. So I mean, yeah, I'm just saying 2 or 3.
wow, that's
Yeah.
so crazy. So really, 2 or 3 out of
Out of
100
100.
are really have what it takes to win in this thing, basically.
I mean, that's it. It is what it is, right?
I mean, yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
it's-
I mean, it puts it in perspective.
That's probably
though,
as
you know
real
what
as
I'm
it
saying?
gets. I mean,
If
Yeah.
anybody wants to dispute it, you know where we're at.
Yeah, that
But
part.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
truly think about it
Mhm.
and what goes into it. Because a lot of it is on your own dime and your own time, right?
1000%, yeah.
So to really recoup, I mean, realistically, yeah, you know, people, I mean, streams, we all know what SoundCloud, Spotify pays.
Yeah, exactly. It ain't shit.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
you know, shows, I mean, everything that goes into it, right? What's your avenues? Like,
right. Only so many. You know what I mean?
You gotta
Yeah,
have so
for
many.
sure. So, as you alluded to before we wrapped up, I gave you guys a request of asking me one question. It can be personal. It can be career oriented, long as it's honest and tactful. You get to ask me one question that you've always wanted to ask me. Calvin, you showed a lot of enthusiasm. So I'll let you go first and asking a question to wrap this up.
All right, so I want you to drop some a nugget, a gem, some knowledge. For up and coming artists, what's something you went through early on in your career? It's something that you went through that I don't want to say like you were took or taken, anything like that, but something that happened in your career early that you look back on and would tell like an up and coming artist that could help them out.
Word.
Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah. It makes sense.
Like story wise,
it's a loaded question because I mean, with skin in the game, there's so many W's and L's that get you here. You know what I'm saying? Your record is probably 100 to 100. You know what I'm saying? That's so many W's and L's that you take in this. But I would say if I had to give something that was super duper useful is go into it knowing who you are, go into it embracing that, and then go into it building from there. If you go
No. I want a story, like something happened to you personally, like back in 2014 or 2016, like this is when I really found out that people aren't really there for you the way you think you're there for.
Oh, like okay, I got a great story for that.
I had a story. So I'm just saying this is like
story
speaking from personal experience. This is something that had to teach me that I can't depend on.
I got you. I got the perfect story for it.
So I guess I didn't load the question right.
Yeah, it's okay. That's what we're here for. You know what I'm saying?
So that's kind of what I meant from personal experience.
So I said this in Miami last year. It was 2017, and Sean met some sort of promoter, and the promoter was bringing Troy Ave out. At that time, it was going to be one of the bigger shows that I've done, right? I was set to go right before Troy Ave, but then somebody bought a slot, and then Troy Ave decided to go on stage where my slot time was. So I had the option to either not perform or go on right after him. And when as younger Riaga, I'm thinking I'm going to go right after him. Right. I'm just like, Mom ain't raised no bitch. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But when that happens, all the people that were there to see Troy Ave dipped. Yeah. So I'm rapping in front of an empty crowd. And literally after that, like I tried my best not to cry. I tried my best, like, you know, not to drink or anything, but like, dog, I was out. I was out for the count. The next day, bro, I literally just like drank ZQuil and I just did not wake up. Like, even though the only time that I would wake up the next day was going to the bathroom. But I didn't have work. I didn't work at the studio. I didn't make music. I didn't talk to anybody. I literally was just like, I was just sipping ZQuil and just going to sleep. You know what I mean? And you want, like, that was a different type of depression. Like, I've been through some shit, but career-wise, that was a different type of depression. You know what I'm saying? So, like, but to know that I went through that, and then, 5 years later, I opened for Tech 9. Well worth it. We talked about sacrifice earlier, dog. Right. And just like, but
5 steps back to go 10 forward.
Yeah, and that's not it. That's not even sacrifice. That's just learning how to fail. And failing at the highest level, dog. Like, how low can you go before, you know, you get to your peak? You know what I'm saying? And that story, that whole occurrence, it made me who I am as an artist today. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Thank you for sharing. That's what I wanted.
Yeah, I got you, bro.
Like, I don't want this. You got a loaded question. He gave me the PC answer.
Not even. I just didn't understand what you were saying.
Yeah, I was trying to like, I'm not getting this across right. Yeah, I wanted like a story.
I got you. But yeah, that's one of my that was one of my defining moments as an artist, dog.
Yeah.
For real. Yeah. All right, your turn.
So when you look back at everything, when it's all said and done, and you know you whatever you decide to stop making music, or whether it's to change a career path, what would you say that would be a winning moment for you to wrap up your career? Would that be, again, either getting a big deal, or getting a million streams on a song, or would that be taking the clothing line off? Like, what would you look back and what would you be like, you know what? that's when I won. When would you say? I always say that was my Super Bowl moment.
Yeah.
What do you think you can predict would be your Super Bowl moment?
Yeah. What is Super Bowl Riaga? That's such a great question.
Good question.
I would say, for me, I always said a Grammy. I get a Grammy,
boy.
I'll be all right.
I love that.
You know what I'm saying? I think I'll be all right because
I think we'll all be all right.
you know what I'm saying?
We coming with you.
Exactly. Like it's gonna be.
definitely
We're
coming.
talking about 20 people in the studio, nigga. That's where we gonna be at the fucking Grammys, dog.
I better be up in there.
And honestly, it'll probably be the Latin Grammy at this point, right? You know what I'm saying?
There we go.
But yeah, bro, because it just feels like out of everything that has happened. I mean, of course, there's other championships that you win in this, but that in particular, it just feels like you have arrived in music, and like people will remember you forever. You know, you have a lot of underground cult followings. You know, I never needed a Grammy to go platinum, to go diamond, and stuff like that. And all of that is cool. If I achieve that, I'm cool. But like something that I've always had my sights on when doing music was a Grammy. You know what I'm saying? So like I think once I do that, I'm cool. If I don't achieve it, I'm okay. But that would be like the greatest Super Bowl moment of my life.
I love it.
You know what I'm saying?
It's gonna happen
for sure. But
yes, sir.
Honestly, we need another episode because I got other questions that I didn't get to. You know what I'm saying?
But another one.
But thank you guys so much for pulling up here and sharing your experiences, sharing your knowledge. You know, like this, it's effortless. You know what I'm saying?
Fun.
When you're talking to families, you know what I'm saying? Like
this is awesome.
It was
cool
well deserved. You know what I mean? I was telling the gang, I was like, yo, episodes maybe 45 minutes to an hour, but then I get in the booth and I'm like, nah, man. The dogs. It's the dogs, man.
Well, like we talked about, like the content there's so much content to take out of this from each one of us.
Yeah, we're all right, trust me.
But we don't have a lot
but there are some other things that I want to ask, you know what I'm saying? So if y'all be down for another episode sometime,
down,
you know what I mean?
100%.
Yeah,
Say less.
For sure. But yeah, this is the Peripheral Project. Real quick, give us your social medias. Tell us where we can find y'all, man.
You can find me, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, just Lance Mijares Facebook, and then on everything else, Lance_Mijares or Lance_Mijares. I mean, pretty simple.
Word for sure, yeah.
Nice. Callywood Music, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Callywood is CALLYWOOD Music. And you can check us out at Callywoodmusic.com. Twitter, I don't do much. That's just too much for me. I don't do it a lot. But I am Callywood on Twitter.
For sure, man. This is the Peripheral Project where we broaden your horizon, bro. I appreciate y'all.
Hey.
One hundo.